The latest in gaming news is all about the money. First, the GTA 6 price point is back in the headlines, and it's thanks to Nintendo? Well, more on that. One is retailing the game, actually, GTA 6, at a higher price than fans would hope to see, and then they promptly took it down. We're going to take a look at this and examine the discussion along with a response from Nintendo about what they're calling variable pricing, because Mario Kart World has set the world on fire, it seems, in not the right way. Second, Marathon from Bungie is hosting an official gameplay reveal stream this Saturday, and I do plan on co-streaming that for you. I even have a video coming later today about how I think they're setting the game up with a recipe for failure. Not that the game is going to fail. I do think the game's going to be good, fun, and people are going to enjoy it. I'm more concerned with how they're setting it up as a live service game. So be sure to check out that video later today. Yes, they sent me swag. It's not that big of a deal, but I'm going to maintain my view that I don't think this game is being set up very well, and we'll talk about more about the gameplay and the ARG here in a moment. Third, Assassin's Creed Shadows is getting its first major update today, and it will bring in some welcome changes for those of us who are enjoying the game, especially if you've been enjoying the game on a PS5 Pro. Fourth, the Oblivion remake is coming. It's very close, and corroboration is now even saying it could happen any day now. Lastly, I've got a game for your wish list and your radar, and this one's taken the review world by storm, and it's releasing this week. Now, if you want to support this channel directly, we continue to try to grow the member number on this channel. It's how I'm able to do this full time. Consider clicking join, pick the $6 member plus. You'll get into segments like this morning's Morning Coffee, where I gave a 45-minute rundown story about how I fought my house and saved it from flooding. You definitely want to check that out, and then every day we end with the Green Room. If you can't support the channel directly, make sure you're subscribed. Smash like right now, and even later if you're watching the VOD, hitting like helps. So let's get into the discussion about GTA 6 and the price, what in the world is going on. So in case you missed it, the Mario Kart World price being $80 digital and $90 physical, well, it sparked a lot of debate. And to all the people who scolded me for running with that price point, it has now been confirmed. Yes, they're going to be having increased prices on some of their games. But it led to a secondary debate and discussion, and it lights the runway in many people's minds for GTA 6 to raise its price above what is considered the current sort of standard price of $70. Now, as reported by Game Rant and even spotted by GTA 6 Countdown on Twitter, a Swiss retailer had the game listed for $100, and then they promptly took it down. Now, for a while now, I have said they would not do this because they could sell the game at the standard price and then easily sell a stupid amount of copies for 100 or 120 with deluxe premium editions or 72 hours of early access and all of that. But the Mario Kart World price point does complicate things. Is GTA 6 going to want to enter the market at a lower price point than Mario Kart? Nintendo has officially stated both the price of the Switch 2 and the game, it has nothing to do with the current and very disruptive tariffs. Doug Bowser of Nintendo did say, however, that this is something that we will see more of, variable pricing between games. He's essentially saying that this is not the new benchmark for Switch 2 game prices. He said that, quote, "What you see right here is variable pricing. We'll look at each game. We're going to really look at the development that's gone into the game, the breadth and the depth of the gameplay, if you will, the durability over time, and the repeatability of the gameplay experiences." Now, listen. At some level, I get this, okay? There are games with a great amount of breadth and depth and replayability, and that's more value to you. You can get hundreds of hours out of Mario Kart. That's not the same as like a 15 to 20 hour playthrough of a single-player game, and then you just kind of put it down. That's what most players do. And yet games like this are priced exactly the same. An analogy would be that, like, you buy a movie for a set price and then an entire season of a show costs more. Well, why? Well, because one's about 3 hours long and a season of a show can be twice or triple that depending how long the show is. Whether or not consumers find this to be compelling or agreeable, I mean, that's up for debate, right? My prediction for GTA 6 price has actually shifted. I think they are going to do $80 now. I think that'll be your standard. They'll have $100 deluxe and $120 premium. It'll just kind of like go up by $20 each time. After Nintendo's announcement, GTA 6 may reconsider if it causes noticeable or meaningful damage to consumer demand, but I don't think that it will. These games tend to be very very in demand. They don't seem to be like they would be hurt by this, and it seems to be happening at a great time because a lot of people are just seeing prices go up on everything, and they may just brush past this and say, yeah, it's just one more thing where the price is going up. There's nothing we can do about it. So in other news though, about it's all about the money. Marathon wants your money. They want you to get this game, and it's a live service game that you're going to have to buy, and they did an ARG, and a bunch of content creators have played the game, and they are doing a stream this Saturday to unveil the gameplay, and I will be co-streaming it. They have put out a few short videos. They don't show a whole lot other than the art direction, which, unsurprising, Bungie's very good at art direction. It looks really good. The more official commentary I hear from Bungie about this game, however, the more I feel they're really setting this game up to struggle to find its footing with a big enough audience to survive in the wild west of the live service landscape. My video coming later today is about why I think this is a recipe for failure, so be on the lookout for that. Keep in mind, I'm going to say this 1,000 times, many times as I can, I'm not saying the game will fail. I'm not saying the game will be bad. I think it'll be a very quality, very good game. I think people are going to like it. I think in the realm of live service, they're stacking the deck against their own game, and my video later today will show you why I think that. Now, another thing that should be exciting that is upcoming is happening today. Assassin's Creed Shadows is getting its first major update, and it will let you reset your master nodes. It'll improve horse speed in the towns, as well as like your auto follow when you're on the horse. They're going to improve selling and dismantling multiple items, as well as making it easier for you to bring up the investigation board. And pulling from Insider Gaming, they also said the following about the PS5 Pro. Assassin's Creed Shadows has received dedicated PS5 Pro improvements in this update. Firstly, PSSR support has been added, and players playing before the upcoming update must manually enable this mode through video settings. Also, the balance mode will feature ray-traced specular, providing visual fidelity close to PS5 Pro quality mode. So you'll be able to do the balance mode that's a little bit closer than to quality. They've also provided the following bullet points. Your hideout frame rate will be uncapped to above 30, so hopefully I no longer have to have my eyes hurting whenever I go to the hideout. Boss fights have been improved with respect to balancing. That was a complaint I saw issued. An issue with Pathfinder line appearing in photos in photo mode. Inconsistencies when throwing a kunai at the closest enemy after an assassination. The perk when it's like a tool master gear perk. Double assassinations have also been improved. Noway's responsiveness in some instances has been improved. So they're doing great work with the game, and then Sony just released their top downloaded games for the US and the EU, and oh my gosh, surprise, surprise, Assassin's Creed Shadows was right at the tippity top with some of the biggest games out there, but it didn't sell well, and everybody's lying that is liking the game, and it's actually a flop. Oh wait, that's not true, that's a lie. Liars gotta lie. We're going to talk about another thing that's coming that's not a lie, and it seems to be just around the corner. The Oblivion remake is apparently here, but maybe not, but then will be. We don't know. Detective Seeds got it wrong. He admitted he got it wrong. That's not his fault if he gets bad intel. Nobody seems to know exactly when this thing is hitting, but the game is imminent, and it apparently will be shadow dropped. Jeff Grubb actually addressed this. Insider Gaming says the following. Jeff Grubb has addressed the claim that Oblivion will shadow drop in the next couple of weeks. He said, quote, Oblivion is very likely going to drop here pretty soon, and Reforge Gaming is very handsome. He didn't say that last part. He said he's been told that it will shadow drop this month. So keep your eyes peeled. This thing's any day now. And now I got a game for your wish list and your radar, and you're not going to want to skip this one, boys and girls. Shuhei Yoshida said this was his game of the year. Blueprints is currently the highest rated game on Metacritic for 2025 with a 92. It releases in 2 days on PC, PlayStation, and Xbox. Shuhei Yoshida, as I said that it would be his game of the year. And with such a strong score, it could certainly be one of those smaller titles to sneak up to the Game of the Year podium. However, it's at a severe disadvantage for the Game of the Year 2025 running. It only has roughly 30 outlets that have reviewed it. Now, that could increase over time because other outlets could say, we got to play and review that game. It's doing so well. But with only 30 outlets that have officially reviewed it on OpenCritic or Metacritic, that's not a lot of people to vote for it in the jury process. It may not garner enough votes. Now, in the other categories like New Indie, Breakout Indie, Indie Game of the Year, or all of that, this game will probably sweep those categories with its current score. We will be checking this out this week, okay? We will be checking it out this week. I might even have my wife play it for you guys on Members on Friday. We got to redeem Friday night and Saturday because I was saving my house from floodwaters this weekend. What were you doing? That's the news. Now it's time for the discussion. Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, guys. Smash the like button. Let's go through that ritual. The show opens done. Now it's time for fun. We've only just begun. I'm done. I didn't even mean to rhyme to begin with. I'm going to stop now before I embarrass myself any more than I already have. Let me get the chat over here. There we go. Guys, hitting that like button is such a huge help. Let's try to get 200 right away. And Hollow Judgment, Han shot first, and so did you, the first gifted member of the week and the day. And then Joker Quinn also gifted a member, and that puts us at 4 already on the week. And buddy, we're gonna need it. Buddy, we're gonna need it. Oh my gosh, there's already people supporting in the member chat and the coffee and the morning coffee this morning. We have we got obliterated with floodwaters, and it's not cheap to try to save your house, and we got probably more expensive on the horizon. So your support is genuinely appreciated. People were already doing that this morning. That's fantastic, and we're hoping that we'll be able to make the best of it, and insurance kind of helps out. Thank you, DK Bager, with the first 5 bomb of the week, and he gets us to 9 members. Thank you so much. And I need to set the super chat goal. Hang on one second. Here we go. Every 5 super chats, I will gift a member. There we go. I pay it forward. And a $5 super chat tip from Duff. Does the marathon swag mean that Bungie is sorry? Are you going to be allowed to play? Listen, as far as I know, I'll be allowed to play. Now, obviously, there were those who are still interested in what I do with my career in life, which is weird, but they're still interested. I'm not interested in what they're doing, but I did not go and sign up on their website. My producer did that. I had no idea that he had done that. He commonly goes and he tries to find games. Hey, maybe we could get early access. Maybe we could get into the beta or the technical test, and then we could get some footage and maybe get into the good graces of a company. And so he went and signed up on the Marathon website. I didn't know that he had done that. So when I got an email that said, hey, Marathon creators, do you want some swag? I was like, yeah, sure. I'll take some. That's cool, right? So I filled out the form. I honestly didn't think I was going to get anything. Why? Well, I don't just have a history with Bungie. I have a history of saying that I don't think Marathon's going to do very well. I don't think the live service landscape is going to be that receptive to it. I think the live service landscape is very, very tough to get players and to keep players. I've been pretty critical, and I've not been like on team Marathon, okay? So I didn't think I was going to get it. So it showed up, and I thought, that's great. And I put the picture on Twitter, and obviously people are like, what does it mean? What does it mean? It doesn't mean anything. It means a third-party company that works for Bungie sent something to me on behalf of Bungie. That's all it means, boys and girls. Like, that's it. That's it. There's no fire here. There's no smoke. And it's obviously at some level a little humorous, but it's not that big of a deal. It really isn't. And I have a video today where I say Marathon is a recipe for failure. The way they're setting it up, I think, is very bad. Not the game, the gameplay, and the fun factor. None of that. I think as a live service game, this is going to be a tough one to get off the ground. I got to thank some people. Mick D09 gifts a member. Thank you so much. And John always, it's a resub. 43 months, member VIP. Dylan gifts a member. And Norberto with 47 months. This is your year, homie. Stoked with all the positive things coming your way this weekend. Aside, things are looking really good for you in this community. And then Dave Langer renews a membership for 23 months. And then 42 months from Chris. I was shocked at the package. That's what she said. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 members to add to the total. Oh, that's a nice one. That's 15. We're 10 away from the first 25 of the week where I'll owe you guys 5 members. If you guys have not hit that like button, do that for me right now. Do it for me right now, guys. Let's get to 200 likes instantaneously. Illuminati's calling you guys out on it. We don't know anything about the game or how it plays, so it really is tough to make a judgment on if it will fail. I'm not saying if it will fail. I'm saying it's a recipe for failure. It could still be successful, right? You're misunderstanding. I am not talking about the gameplay or the fun factor. If you want a live service game to be successful, they're making all the wrong decisions. Like, if you were going to write a textbook on how to get a live service game off the ground, Marshmallow with a member plus, welcome back. you would not do any of the things that they were doing. And I'm going to walk through those things in the video. So I'm not going to cannibalize my video. You'll have to watch it later today. But I'm not decrying the game as like, oh, it will fail. It's going to suck. It's going to be bad. It's like, no. They're stacking the deck against their own game. And if it succeeds, then it'll be a massive, massive story to be like, wow, they were able to pull this off even with all these things that they decided to do that I think is making the game a very, very tough sell. And Amskin with a Member Plus, getting closer to a year. That's 9 months of memberships, and that gets us to 17. And a $5 super chat from Dr. Pimp says, really enjoyed your take on the Switch with an open mind, not jumping on the bandwagon of the price because it's a day one buy for me. Well, I appreciate that. Thank you very much. Yeah, on the subject of GTA 6 and the price and Mario Kart World, and I disagreed with Legendary Drops on Twitter. It was cordial. I don't think anybody's being, toxic. I appreciate his perspective. I offered a different perspective, and I said I really think facts should inform our opinions on things, like not just our emotional response to something. And it doesn't mean that I'm like, yay, I can't wait to spend more money on a video game than I used to. It's like, it didn't move the Confedo count. That's weird. You're right. It didn't. It's like glitched out or something. Somebody hit it. I'm 44 hours in Assassin's Creed Shadows, says MASH. I think it's pretty good mostly. My main issues is that it's bloated and too large with fairly forgettable story. It's quantity over quality, a lot like Valhalla. I've just been taking my time with it, MASH, and I have enjoyed just like letting the side stories and the side quest dialogue just play and just like getting to know the characters. I'm just kind of letting the game do its own thing. Now, I do think it's weird that you have like a flashback where you learn how to use a grappling hook, and it's like, I've been using the grappling hook. What the frick? Why? I don't need this to be contextualized. There are certain things that seem out of order, like why wouldn't I have had the flashback, learned to use the grappling hook, and now I have the grappling hook to use in the game? But it's like, I don't know. Reckless Gambit says, it felt low-key disrespectful to me, pseudo-intellectual monologue. What are you talking about, Reckless Gambit? What are you referring to? What are you referring to? A video or something? John always says, Testeto. There we go, Testeto. It's working now. But on the subject of GT, and the 20 bomb from MASH comes in and says, we got to get this party started. Appreciate you so much, MASH, for supporting the channel in just such huge ways. Legendary reply to the tweets. Wait, did he reply? Did he reply to me? I didn't know he replied to me. I didn't see. I usually tweet like that and then put my phone away. So, did he reply to me, or are you saying he was replying to other people? And then somebody asked Grok to basically, what did Grok think of what was being said? And I actually thought it was a really, really good summary. You not see him reply at all? No, he actually replied. I didn't see that he replied. Twitter is terrible lately. I don't get notified sometimes of people replying. Oh, no, he did. He quote tweeted me. I'm so sorry. He says, no, they don't. So I said, nobody cares about the facts. He says, no, they don't. The only fact people care about is what's in their wallet and the price tag on the game. It's, can I afford this? Not pseudo-intellectual monologuing to justify the economic conditions behind a price. I can't believe point of sale is a foreign concept. Yeah, I mean, I'm not trying to pseudo-intellectual monologue. I'm not. I'm simply saying I think facts should inform our opinions, and I think the Grok summary is a really, really good insight, okay? So Grok says, Reforge Gaming's point holds. Adjusted for inflation, $60 in 1991 is approximately $134 today, making $70 for Tears of the Kingdom cheaper with more content. It's roughly 50 to 100 hours versus 10 to 15. So what I'm saying is these facts should inform your opinion, right? Like that's what facts should do. Facts should shape your opinion on something, not just your emotional response. The emotional response is fine. You are allowed to be like, this sucks. I don't want to spend more money for video games. But to fly off into it's wrong, it's bad, it's immoral, they're greedy, they're scummy. It's like, wait. Let's slow down just a minute. Let's balance out our view with facts. If all you ever do is formulate your opinion based on your emotional response, that feels very immature to me. That feels very undisciplined. It's like, that doesn't feel like an adult. That's what my kids do, right? That feels very childish. I'm not saying you and Chad I'm not saying he or you are being childish. I'm saying that's childish behavior. Like, I don't formulate my opinion based purely by my emotional response to something. Hang on, you guys are going crazy here. And 10 gifted members from Hollow Judgment gets us to 47 members. You guys are doing so much, I can't even keep up with it. Holy cow. And then a VIP from Dirge and a Member Plus from Stargator. Always enjoy your content. Keep it up. And we are now sitting at 49 members on the day already. We're one away from 50. So I think you can have both. You can have both. Keep up the good work. Roger lands the plane on 50 members with his renewal, and I now owe you guys 10 members already. We're barely even 20 minutes into the stream. Let's get 10 more likes on the video to get to 200 likes. Like, here's what's interesting, okay? Legendary Drop's position seems to be, don't bring those facts into the discussion. Keep those facts out of here. Nobody cares about those facts. Oh, okay. I mean, you can have that opinion. My opinion is that I'm allowing both. I'm allowing you to be upset about a price increase. I'm letting that in the room. I'm making space for that. But I'm also making space for facts. The facts are, we have had basically static video game prices for almost 30 years. They haven't gone up. And because of inflation, the actual price of video games have gone down for the last 30 years, while the games have gotten bigger and bigger and bigger, as evidenced by Tears of the Kingdom versus Link to the Past, as I argued, as Grok backed me up. It's like Legend of Zelda in 1991, Link to the Past was like $130 according to inflation. And listen, the point is not to say that makes it okay. Don't shadow box, don't straw man. I'm not saying that makes it okay. I'm saying you have to align your expectations with reality. We should have expected this to eventually happen. So when can it happen? That's my question. That's my question. When's it allowed to happen? When? When can the price of games go up? When? 2030? 2040, 2050? Seriously, think about how ludicrous we're being. For roughly 30 years, game prices haven't moved. So what? For forever? What's the answer to the question? Take up the mantle right now and tell me, when's the time? When can it go up? Every other item in existence is more expensive than it used to be. When can video game prices go up? When? When will it not make you upset? When will it not be bad, wrong, unethical, scummy, toxic, greedy, money grab? When will it be okay? When will it be acceptable? Quality goes down, price should go down. Quality is subjective. If you buy a game and think it's amazing, I might buy a game and not like it. Now, obviously, quality can be related to, does the game run well? Is it broken? Is it busted? Sure. Think about it like this. You've been buying games for $60, and sometimes you buy a game for $60, and you play it for 150 hours. Sometimes you buy a game for $60, and you play it for 15 to 20 hours. Right? Why is that fair? Answer me that. Why is that fair? You want to talk about fair? You'll buy a game for $60 and you'll get 150 hours out of it. You'll buy another game for $60, you only get 20 hours out of it. Why is that fair? Should the 20-hour game be way cheaper? Should the 150-hour game be way more expensive? Like, you see what I'm saying? For the longest time, we've been getting, I would say, a pretty amazing deal. Gaming has never been cheap. It's never been a cheap hobby. It's never been a frugal penny pincher's hobby. It hasn't been. Not for a long time. Like, hang on, I'm missing members. Oh. Wait, did I thank... I don't think I thanked Roger. Roger with 11 months says, keep up the good work. Dirge with 22 months in a VIP says, don't count this. Just want to say this is the best community. Why would I not count it? And then J-Rag and Knight with 2 months. I don't mind higher prices if I get more. That's 3 members right there to 53. And a super chat just came in from Dwayne. Why are we blaming Nintendo for the $100 price of GTA 6? We all knew GTA 6 was going to be pricey. Everyone is out to blame everybody. Well, the shirt has me triggered, I'm not going to lie. Why? Legendary Drops included your tweet in his newest video this morning. Was he respectful? Like, I actually, like I said, I don't always agree with him, but I think he puts his video together. I like his videos. I think he's good at what he does. I don't agree with him a lot of the times, but that doesn't mean I don't watch the content. I don't ignore videos because I don't agree with them. I actually like to listen to videos that are not, that I don't align with. I think his ability to write and monologue is quite good. I think that's why he's had growth. You're still ignoring the facts about the overhead costs of games in the 80s and 90s that don't exist anymore in today's market, and games are much cheaper to make do to not having those costs anymore. Joel, I'm not ignoring those things. Those things are not a factor in the discussion because the companies are literally looking at the market and they're saying, how much can we extract from the market? That's what they're supposed to do. Brett's with a month. Thanks for the gift on this account, y'all. I'm going to switch over to my other profile now. Thank you so much, Brett. And then Lone Wolf with 30 months in the VIP. As I always say, I love this community. 6 more months till I hit 3 years. So glad to be here. Thank you, Lone Wolf. And that gets us to 54. It's YouTube, Lono? Well, I mean, here, listen. Every company is saying the same thing. How much can we get people to spend? They're all saying the same thing. They are. Are you surprised by that? Seriously. So Rockstar with GTA 6. Right now, they've got a price in mind. We don't know what it is. Let's say it's 80. Right? That means internally, Rockstar determined GTA 6 is in such demand that we can make more money by raising the price. And when they discover that through their own research, their development, their market research, do you know what they have to do? They have to do it. Imagine telling your shareholders, yeah, we did the research, we could get away with 80 per unit, but we're going to do 70 because we don't want to upset people on Twitter. I mean, there's quicker ways to get fired, I guess. I mean, I guess you just come into work naked, but that's a really quick way to get fired, is to tell your shareholders, we could have extracted more money. We could have made more money. We could have charged more per unit, but we don't want to upset people on Twitter and YouTube. Hang on 1 second. Okay, he basically used your argument to discuss the idea that consumers only care about their perspective of buying a product, not the reality of the market. Here's the thing. He's correct. I like to inform opinions with facts. I do. I think that's something that's fun. I like to say, you're really upset about this, but have you considered the reality? Have you considered the facts? Have you considered this, that, and the third? He is correct, though. I don't expect the consumer to bring an inflation calculator with them to Target to be like, well, look, babe, Mario Kart World is cheaper than the Super Nintendo version of Mario Kart back in the 90s, so we're getting a steal here. I'm not saying that, but I'm saying in this environment, hold on to your hats, boys. We have access to all the facts. We have access to more information than anybody in the history of existence, and to me, I see it as a great privilege and a great maybe even duty to say, let's look at the facts and have that shape our opinions rather than only shape our opinions by our emotional response to something. That's just the way I look at it. I think that's a better way to go about these things. Donnie says, we need to stop comparing game costs to games made 30 years ago. The vast majority of indie studios make games for the love of games. The corporate cog didn't exist then. This is true. Googly with the super chat says, you all know I'm a Nintendo hater, but even I find the rant about the $10 price increase to be hilarious, if not ridiculous. A $5 super chat from Zach Johnson. Would you rather have $40 to $60 games with Battle Pass, microtransactions, or a fully complete game for $80 to $100? That's the question about Mario Kart World. Are they going to have additive content that you got to buy? You know, that's a question that I'm sure people have. Right. Mash says, I find most games can have 20-hour or less campaigns, but inflate them with repetition, traveling, uninteresting content. I prefer 60, 10 to 20-hour games than a $90, 50-hour game with bloat. Right, but I don't think it's necessarily that dichotomous, Mash. Like, I played Elden Ring for like 130 hours, right? I played Death Stranding for 46. So I played Death Stranding for a third of the time of Elden Ring. Which game do you think I enjoyed more? I enjoyed Death Stranding more, but I played Elden Ring more, which is weird. Some of that's because we were streaming it and we were having success streaming it, so I kind of leaned into it. But the interesting thing is, both games cost the same amount of money, right? They both cost the same amount of money, and I extracted more playtime out of one. But then I extracted less playtime out of Death Stranding, but I enjoyed the time that I spent in there more. Like, it's really, really hard to, like, get out a graph to, like, argue, which game was worth the money? Should one have been more expensive than the other? What determines how much a game should be? Is it how much they spent to make it? Is it how much time I'm going to get out of it? Like, Doug Bowser seems to think that, like, repeatability is a factor. Like, you're going to play Donkey Kong Bonanza probably once, and you're going to extract, I don't know, somewhere probably in the neighborhood of 15 hours on average out of that game would be my guess. And then Mario Kart World, for most people, you're going to extract probably 50 to 100 hours out of Mario Kart World over the course of the years that you own it. So is it a big deal at that point in your mind that Mario Kart World was $10 more than Donkey Kong? And listen, Legendary Drops makes a fair point. Well, when they're in the store, they don't care about that. I'm not in the store. I'm in a YouTube stream. I'm talking to you. I'm on Twitter. And I think informing opinions with facts is important. Lone Wolf says, when people complain about the long wait times, tell them while there are wait times, it doesn't make them feel better. It can. No, it can. If we're sitting in the plane and we won't back away from the gate, and I'm like, man, we were supposed to take off 15 minutes ago, and they get on the thing, and they're like, bit of a delay. There's a plane behind you with a broken wheel. We're getting it fixed right now. ETA is 10 more minutes. That actually does make me feel better because I'm like, oh, well, now I know what's going on. We're not just sitting here in the dark about like, well, are we ever going to take off? Are we ever going to get out of here? You see, like, it doesn't make it more enjoyable, but it can calm me down a little bit. It's like, oh, okay, well, you know, it's not negligence. It's not some dummy. It's not the pilot being lazy. It's a real situation that we're just going to kind of have to wait out. Maybe hot take, but I don't think Elden Ring had a good campaign. I look at it as engaging open world, no real time per se. No, I get that, Mash. Yeah, I don't think you play Elden Ring for the campaign unless you're a bit of a lore nerd, you know, a FromSoft nerd, right? That would be the people that really dig the story. I was like, not really. I don't even think I know what happened. I'm just being real with y'all. Yeah, I don't even think I know what happened. I was like, I burned the world or something, or I think I think I understood the story better before we played because we like read what was going to happen, and then I played it, and I was like, I don't really know what the frick happened, but I had fun in most of it. But I've had fun in the first half. It's true. In any case, GTA 6, my new prediction about the GTA 6 price, I think it's 80. I think they go 80, 100, 120. I think they have 3 versions. 80 will be standard, $100 deluxe, 120 premium. You know, early access, a shiny car. I missed your milestone, Garrett. I'm so sorry. I'm a little out of practice. 30 months. Ooh, that's a nice setup, Garrett. We're 20 bomb away from 75. We'll see if you can't bait somebody to drop the 20 bomb. I would have been fine if GTA or PS6 raised prices, but Nintendo games are much cheaper to make. Isn't that interesting? I'm not going to put words in your mouth, Garrett. But why does a consumer suddenly care about what it costs to make the game? Why are we getting to enter that into the discussion then? If the consumer's just reacting to the price, how do you know how much it costs to make a Nintendo Switch 2 game? How do you know that? How do you have access to that information? And even if you do have access to that information, why does that determine the price of the item? Do you do that with your iPhone? Do you do that with your Nikes? Do you do that with all the other items that you buy? Do you do that with your luxury item purchases? Non-necessity items. We're going to stop using luxury because people picture like caviar and pearl necklaces. Luxury items are non-essential items. Right? So you're going to go and buy a non-essential item. What are you going to go research the cost per unit to be like, well, these Levi jeans only cost them $2 to make. Why am I paying $40 for them? You're basically arguing that nothing in the market should cost what it costs because everything in the market is significantly marked up from the cost to produce it. That's how they make their money. That's not the only consideration. I've just not seen anyone bring that up in the argument. I think it's superfluous, and I'll tell you why. I answered a guy on Twitter about this, right? And he injected this into the conversation. I'm gonna let you see what he said. Okay. I just gotta find it. Sorry. Here we go. All right. The account that I replied to got suspended. So we can't see what he said. Right? Lono, you are sneaking up on class consciousness and people actually looking at the market with clearer eyes. Oh, that'd be problematic, wouldn't it? So basically, Garrett, what the guy was doing was he was saying the same thing you're saying. Well, they can't charge, GTA 6, 80, 100, whatever, or Mario Kart World because the cost that it, cost to make the game, blah, 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 right? He's like, what excuse do they have? He was on your side on the issue, Garrett. And here's what I said to him. I said, the excuse is probably as simple as this. They can. If a company examines market demand and determines they can make more money with a price hike, they will. We don't have to like it, but it's what all businesses do if they want to succeed. Think of it this way. All that extra money satisfies the C-suite, the board, the shareholders. What will they do? They'll greenlight more games. They'll probably increase investment into more games. Do you see? Like, if a company determines we can charge more per unit now, we can charge more, they're going to do it. They spend a good amount of time in their budget on figuring out, well, what could we charge for this? And AOZ says the following. The reality to lower prices of games is to lower everyone's salary across the world to make the economics work. You never hear people talk about the necessary sacrifice. They want their cake, right? For prices not to change, salaries can't change either, says AOZ. Supply and demand of currency. Right. You guys want to bring up the cost to make these games. Well, do you want to talk about production costs that are constantly going up every year? Salaries going up every year? I hear this every time a new expensive Apple product comes out. No one will buy it for that much, and then the market is flooded with copycats. Garrett says, I never argue that they can't. I know companies can do whatever they want to squeeze people, and I'm going to always be against that mindset. Yo, what's good, Pugs? Want to stop by and laugh at the irony of getting a marathon package? Hope all's well. Thanks, Pugs. It's strange times out here, man. Strange times out here. What is going on? I'm getting like multiple notifications from my wife. She liked one of my text messages. You know how you can like hold down the button and like heart it or thumbs up it? It just kept pinging me. I'm like, I'm in an eternal notification loop. The frick? Anyway. The market decides. Yes, and here's another thing that I said to people on Twitter. Let me see if I can find it. Another thing I said to people on Twitter is be mad and vote with your wallet. You're allowed to do that. You're totally allowed to do that. I said 100% complain, scream, yell, vote with your wallet. That's a completely legitimate response. All I'm trying to do is balance out the plane. We're on this wavelength of, anger. It's like, and then the plane just it's like, oh no, this is bad. The sky is falling and everything's terrible. Gaming sucks and the world's gonna end. And it's a $10 price hike on one game. Doug Bowser literally says this is not the new benchmark for game prices from Nintendo. You got a marathon package? I'm wearing the shirt right now. I got a little stuffy around here somewhere. He's adorable. I'll have to show it to you guys later. Googly with the super chat makes it rain confetto, and I've got to add a member to the total. We're now at 56. That makes a 20 bomb and Agents of Chaos. We'll see if we can't get a 20 bomb in here. It'd be the second 20 bomb of the week. Our boy Mash has already done one. Let's see if somebody can match him. I will gift a member. Currently, I owe you guys 10. I'm going to do the single right now. I'm going to wait. See if we can't do I'll do a 20 bomb when we get to that 100. That's stinking flooding. If you guys want the rundown of what happened in my house, it's like a 45-minute story from Morning Coffee this morning. Yeah. Not fun. Did not enjoy having to spend all that money, but we were successful. We protected the finished side of the basement, and it was pain. Should we trust a guy named Bowser in Nintendo? FCAT, it is interesting. I wonder how he got there. You really got to wonder. Do I think Marathon's getting a release date? I think Marathon is going to do their gameplay reveal on Saturday, and then they're going to open up a closed alpha to select people, and then we'll probably get a release date. I had flooding not too long ago. Basement was full of industrial fans for a week. Yeah, not fun. The too long didn't read is we had to fight it for 7 hours on Friday night. It started again on Saturday night. And my wife and I, for 8 hours, every 20 to 30 minutes, we had to carry 200 pounds of water out of our basement. That's how much the shot vacs were just pulling up from the ground. There were 2 spots that we put them. And because we were doing that, all that water did not end up in the finish side. So think about what every 20 to 30 minutes for 8 hours, 200 pounds of water, like what that equals. That's basically what, so that would be, we did it roughly 16 times. 3,200 pounds of water that would have been in my basement, right? And Jack Garland with the 5 bomb bumps the line to 61. Thank you so much. Appreciate you, sir. Never have spent that much money at Home Depot in all my life. Buying all kinds of stuff. Like for me, the best 3 games last year, Unicorn Overlord, Balatro, and Metaphor. You can try to look into their budgets, and none of that high, I assume. 1,600 liters in my head. Yeah, I don't know. You can now fully support weight limits for package and baggage handlers. Yeah, that's right. We're ready. We have 2 sub pumps. We have one and a backup if the water gets too high. It was record rainfall in the area. Every house around us. The house next to us, their sub pump broke. They had 4 inches of water in their basement. We didn't because of the sub pump and because of our efforts. We literally protected our basement. We fought like warriors, my wife and I, for 8 hours. It was 7 hours on Friday and it was 8 hours Saturday and Sunday. My body feels like I got beat up with baseball bats. You try carrying 200 pounds of water out of your basement every 30 minutes and see what it does to you. It is brutal. But yeah, their sump pump stopped working, and so they got 4 inches. I mean, you got to think about what 4 inches of water is in an entire basement. That's an insane amount of water. So, get those cracks filled. It'll help. We're going to have somebody come in, assess, and we'll go from there. It probably wouldn't hurt to have a bunch of them filled so that there could, honestly, I'd rather have them all filled and leave obvious spots open so if it happens, you just cover it with a shot bag. Right? You cover all the ones you can't get to. So then the water just comes out of a known area, right? Anyway, it was such an insane amount of rainfall that it's going to mess with the tectonic plates in the earth. That's how much water fell. So, but we don't need to talk about that. Rockstar spent tons on GTA 6. Just the music numbers was kind of nuts. Well, here's the thing, okay? With GTA 6 price, this could be why we still haven't seen the GTA 6 trailer too. It could be. It could be why. Very possible. Yeah, that's the OG Pugs, Heavy Metal Mama. There's a distinct possibility that Rockstar was like, we're going to let Nintendo take their shot first. Right? We're going to let them take their shots first. Hold the science train. I missed some major news. It was the most rainfall the city's had since 1997. It was a record flood for Louisville. It was record. Like, multiple houses around us have had their basements ruined. We are very blessed that we were able to fight it. Very blessed. Because my studio was spared. And it would have been devastating. It would have been thousands of dollars of repairs. I wouldn't have been able to work. Yeah. The possibility that GTA 6 will be on Switch 2 also. Now listen, as far as GTA 6 releasing on the Switch 2, I mean, listen now. I bet you dollars to donuts they want it there. Are they going to be able to figure it out? I don't know. We've gone from there's no way GTA 6 will be 60 FPS, right? On the Pro or anywhere else. There's no way. To now we're like, well, I mean, maybe it'll be on the Switch too. I'm like, wait a minute now, boys. Wait a minute. Listen, if you can get GTA 6 to run on the Switch 2, then I better get 60 FPS on my Pro. Do you hear me? Do you hear me, Rockstar? Like, do you hear me? Do you hear me, Rockstar? I hit the wrong button. Like, seriously, I can't get out. Like, you better give me you better give me 60, bro. If you get this freaking game to run on a Switch 2, you better give me 60. I'm getting emotional about it. I'm just kidding. I mean it, man. And a freaking Switch 2 is not now listen, it's an impressive handheld. If 30 is good enough for the Switch, it's good enough for you. Shut up, Zubair. I'm so over GTA 6, it hasn't even come out yet. I saw Death Stranding is getting a movie. what a perfect game to get a movie, honestly. Just throw the actors in there. You know what I mean? Like Norman, it's easy casting. It's like, yeah, Norman Reedus is right there. Yeah, he's just standing there. Get him, you know? King Sovereign with 29 months. I have to imagine the budget for GTA 6 has to be astronomical if the rumors for them starting over multiple times is to be believed. Who are they casting as the baby, though? Probably a baby. Mash says, I can only speak to my preferences for smaller, more focused campaigns at lower price. If most gamers buy games at higher price and prefer longer games, they should go there despite my preference. Here's the thing. If GTA 6, let's say that GTA 6 has a budget that is 3 times the size of Mario Kart, okay? Let's just say that. 3 times the size. So you've got, let's say Mario Kart World was 70 million, okay? And then GTA is over 200 million, right? It's like 3 times the amount of money. Do you really want to start arguing that? Do you? Seriously, let's just open that can of worms, shall we? Let's crack it wide open. Well, Mario Kart they have no right to charge that much. Their budget's so much smaller. Oh. I think train tracks go both ways. Pause. I do. If you're going to argue that, well, then that means when a game has a really big budget, they should what? Charge you more? Are you okay with that? Do you really want to argue this all the way to its logical end? Do it. Go all the way to the end of the road. Well, Mario Kart has no right. Oh. It doesn't, its budget's way small. Oh. What about games that have an even bigger budget? What about games that cost 3 to 4 times to make? Well, I guess it's time to pass on that price to the consumer then, right? I mean, you're arguing that they can't raise the price if the game is so much cheaper to make, which means if it's so much more expensive to make, the inverse would then be true, would it not? That then they can then charge you more. Charles Hawk with a $10 super chat says, my wife had church friends visit this past Sunday. A few talked about getting a Switch 2 for their kids. No one complained or cared about the price. Yeah, because they're not paying attention to it. They like to cry for a discount for a reason that doesn't make much sense when you think it through like that. Cool, then keep micros out of it. Yeah, I mean, there is the opinion. Guys, could we get 50 more likes on the video right now? If you're able and you're sitting there and you're lurking, you're listening, right? Your phone's not in your pocket. You can safely reach your phone, right? Do me a favor. Yeah, I can tell I was put in the video. I'm getting a bunch of comments now that I have to approve. You're an idiot. You're a corporate shill. You suck off. Okay, wow. It seems that the intellectuals have arrived to my comment section. They're all being very, very thoughtful. Bro, please shut your effing mouth and take it up the blank. We don't need your opinion. Yep. They're all... These people all clearly have PhDs. We got a lot of smart folks coming to the comments. Real deep thinkers here. Real deep thinkers coming to the comment section. $5 super chat from I Troll the Trolls says Ubisoft might have ironically found gold with Mirage. If most games will be 80, people will want shorter games, 25 hours or less at reasonable prices. David Houdat with 14 months of Member Plus. Here's the thing. I actually think you're going to see that. Do you know why? I think Expedition 33 is going to show people that you can bring a game to market at AAA quality, AA in size, and you can sell it for $50. And you might end up doing very well because of that. I think you're going to start to see more games in the 50, 60 range, and then there'll be the 70s and the 80s. And then there's the primos where like 72 hours of early access and a shiny jacket for 120. But yeah, I think Expedition 33 priced at 50 is going to help with that. And I think we benefit from that. Do you want to know why we benefit from that? Because consumers are then given choice. What do you want to buy? West Dirty really plays games with 3 months at a member plus and then 33 months from Paul. And that gets us to 64 members on the day. On the week. We missed yesterday because I was recovering. Like, it'll be really interesting to see. Like, maybe the 50-60 sweet spot will create a really, really great space in the market for, you know, smaller games, smaller studios to step in and say, hey, you know, we could make a killing here. We can make a killing. We can kind of stand out in a market of 70 and sometimes even out $80 games. And then you then have the choice to come into the market as the consumer and say, well, what am I going to buy? What am I going to support? If Mario Kart World has no microtransactions and any updates and new tracks or carts are added for the life of the game for free, then it's an okay price point. It depends. It depends, Captain Steve. It depends. Because if a year later Mario Kart World as an entirely new circuit and all new tracks and all new this and all new racers, I don't know if that should be free because I spent $80 12 months earlier. That's a lot of content to be like, I gave you an extra 10, I now get free content in perpetuity. Huh? The frick? I love you, Captain Steve. What kind of logic is that? You gave him an extra 10 quid. I'm speaking your language now. I'm a man of the people. You know, you give an extra 10 quid. And like, so now in perpetuity, they just, anything they make you get? Monster Hunter does it? Not every game is the same. There are some games that just constantly give you free stuff and other games that don't. Captain Steve is right. Well, you can't be right. These are just opinions. So there is no right or wrong. You're going to approach it from your perspective. Purchase or don't according to your perspective. I'm going to approach it from my perspective. I'm going to purchase or don't. And then the chips fall where they may. There's no right or wrong here. I think sometimes you have to free yourself from seeing that. Like, I think that's why people get so upset. There is no right or wrong. It's just, what do you think? What do I think? Okay, well, we'll see what happens when, the market spend hits. I'm saying no more season passes if games cost almost as much as a console. Captain Steve, what do you talk? $80 is not. Come on, stop it. Stop that, Captain of the Steves. That's hyperbolic. That's extremely hyperbolic. $80 is not almost the cost of a friggin' console, bro. They're not selling games for $150 or $200. It's a $10 price bump. I think it's interesting how many gamers are freaking the blank out over feeling just the tiniest pinch as the economy continues as it has for 40 years. Believe it, prices go up. Lona was recovering yesterday from a Mondo hangover after getting in before the tariffs on Miller Lite hits. What the frick? I don't have any Miller Lite in my house. Donnie. That's drinking. That's not even drinking. The Monhunt example by the gray name was false too. It has a paid expansion. Oh, well, there you go. Mario World should have battle passes and microtransactions. In my opinion, customizing carts and character skins would be dope. I definitely had some bourbon the last couple of nights. It was a rough weekend. I've definitely had some bourbon, but no Miller Lite. Gamers have this weird sense of entitlement to any game that they could possibly want to play, like a God-given right. They don't treat it like a product, which is what it is. It's interesting, isn't it? Yeah. Guys, we need 300 likes on the video. We got 60 seconds. It's the first hour of the stream. Let's have 300 likes in the first hour. I need 20 people right now to smash like if you haven't already. Thanks so much for being here. Listen, you may be coming from Legendary Drop's video, all right? He doesn't agree with me. That's totally fine. I welcome that, okay? I don't agree with him, and I think that makes for a healthy world, okay? If you're coming from his content, hit subscribe, hang out, talk, join the conversation. You don't got to cuss me out, okay? That's not productive. You're not achieving anything. Don't tell the world you're an emotionally unstable person. I don't understand why men are so willing to do that so often. It's not very manly. You know what I'm saying? Just come in and say what you think and let's have a discussion. I think a lot of people are just lashing out because gaming has been affordable and disposable to them, and now they're going to have to be intentional with their money. Captain Steve says, it's not far off of 3 digits for a game. PGA was over £100. On PS5, that's crazy money. Let me let you in on a little secret, Captain Steve. I don't know how old you are. I think we're close in age. All right. I was born in 81. I've been there since kind of the beginning of the gaming era of time. And here's the truth. Gaming has never been cheap. Gaming has never been focused on affordability. It has always been an expensive hobby. It has. Seriously. It always has been. When's it ever been cheap? Games have been cheap? When? What era of time do you think games were cheap? Give me an era of time and let's put it to the test. You throw out a time period where, in your estimation, 360 games were £50. Okay, let's do it. Xbox 360 release date, so 2005. All right. All right, $50 in 2005 to now, $81. That's the fastest checkmate in the history of checkmates. Did you guys get your stopwatch out on that? Did you get your stopwatch? It's never been cheap, bro. It's never been cheap. When you were buying 360 games, you were basically spending $80. You were at 50 or 60, but that was a lot of money back then. Believe me, I got married in 2007, and the job that I had, I found our old tax papers, right? I could not believe how little money we made. I think I made like somewhere between $25,000 and $30,000 a year working full time. Okay? So when I'm making that much money and my rent was like, I think $600, $500, which is crazy low. $500 or $600 for rent is insane. $60 for a video game was a chunk of change, brother. That's a tenth of my rent. It wasn't cheap. Gaming's never been cheap. It hasn't been. It's always been expensive. Steam sales? Well, yeah, even Steam sales aren't going to necessarily make it cheap. Cheaper. It can be cheaper if you do that. If people use CD keys, gaming is still cheap. Okay, now here's what you're doing. You're cheating, Christopher. You're not making gaming cheap. You're going about it in a cheap way. Do you see the difference? That would be like saying, eating out is expensive. Like going to restaurants is expensive. And you're like, well, not if you get on this coupon and this subscription service and you go on Thursdays before 7 o'clock and then you get the drinks for half off. No. You're engaging with it in a cheap way, which is completely legitimate. That doesn't make it cheap. You're not suddenly making eating out cheap. You're not suddenly making gaming cheap because you figured out ways to be frugal. Do you understand what I'm saying? Like, buying eggs from your neighbor doesn't make eggs cheap right now. You found a cheap way to get them. Mick Pratt with 23 months in a VIP says, glad you're back. Welcome back. That reminds me of the time that I accidentally said, glad you're black to somebody. I misread their super chat. I said, glad you're black. Which, I mean, I am if you are. I'm glad, but there's no reason to really say that out loud. Mr. Grimm with the $5 super chat says, games were already over 50 back in the day during the OG Nintendo days. Was anybody around for that? We were in the King's Fall raid when I said that. That'd be such a weird thing to say to somebody. You know what I mean? I'm like, what the? Why are you glad about that? I just am. It brings me joy. Subservices have killed our expectations of cost of bespoke purchases across media, says Donnie. DVDs now look expensive. Physical music CDs now look expensive. Neither did or felt expensive in 2001. Captain Steve says the only good thing with Nintendo at this point is that they have physical versions that should hold their price and should be able to trade them in. Yes. Paying 5 to 10 more for AAA games. Oh, I'm sorry. Paying 5 to 10 for a AAA game due to a sale is extremely affordable. I never would have dreamed of anything like that when I was a kid. I don't think you're buying a whole lot of AAA games for $5 or $10. Jeff Grubb says, all I've been playing is Blueprints. It's like living inside a deck building card game. I've got credits after 45 runs, and I still feel like I understood maybe 20% of what is happening. Lono has been flippant and tongue-in-cheek all morning. Yeah, I have been. Let's make a GoFund campaign for this man to save $10 or $20. Just kidding. He still have to start his GoFundMe all by himself. I might have to start a GoFundMe for my dadgum basement. She didn't say anything about us being in an effing basement. That's such a good scene with Brad Pitt. He's so grumpy. He is so grumpy about being in a basement. Congrats on the marathon goodies. Thank you, Behemoth. Check my last message. Brett says, get this, accounting for inflation, the $400 we spent on the PS4 is $550 today. The PS5 is cheaper. Yeah, there's helpful charts out there about the cost of the consoles. It is. It's just remarkable. It's remarkable. Like, I think there's a couple of things going on. Like, obviously, if the GTA 6 price, you know, I don't think Legendary Drops is going to donate. I would love to do a show with him, or I could do, if he wants to do a video with me, I think it'd be fun. I really do, to have completely different perspectives on this, or to have like a lively debate. Like, because I see things differently than him on a lot of the subjects lately. I did agree with him on some stuff though. So like, if the GTA 6 price goes up, if game prices in general go up, I think consumers will naturally have a problem with that. They'll express, you know, a distaste or an irritation with that. They will. But generally speaking, the dust settles and we just kind of keep going. This happened when games bumped to 70. We had all these discussions, and I said, this is a long time coming. I've been telling people for a long time that, you know, we've been getting games on cheap, you know, for a while. You know, he has 300,000 subs. You have to go to his show, not him on yours. That's not really how that works, homie. I mean, some YouTubers are real stuffy about that, but a lot of YouTubers don't care. They're not like, well, I have this many subscribers. I'm not coming to your show and slumming it. Like, come on. Most people. Some people might, but not all. These AI images are ridiculous. They'll complain about it for a month, but most will buy it anyway. That's what's going to happen. Seriously. Seriously, that's what's going to happen. I love you guys that are upset about this. I do. I love how passionate you are about gaming. Your passion means you care. And I remember when my soccer team, my boys, we were undefeated and we lost the championship game. And one of the boys, he was crying. And at the beginning of the season, he didn't even want to play. He told me he couldn't play. He was despondent. And I said, listen, man, you can play. All you got to do is go where the ball is and try to kick it. Just start there. Do you know what he was by the end of the season? He was one of my best defenders. He was built like a little refrigerator, and he would just get in their way, and he was awesome. He was bold. And he was crying at the end. And I said, look at you. You didn't even want to play on the first day, and now you're upset because you lost. And I told him, I said, I'll take 10 of you every day of the week because you care. I will always take somebody who cares over somebody who doesn't, right? Some smug punk kid who like is over it or above it, right? So I love that you care. I think you being upset, you verbalizing your complaint comes from passion. I will always take gamers who care and are upset over the, the glib fake positivity or the grifting nonsense where they're just like forcing, negativity, Bro called him built like a mini fridge. He was just very square, and it made it hard to get around him. I told him, man, soccer's a physical game. Get in there, dude. Get in their way. My only gripe is Nintendo leading the charge. I'll never knock anyone for buying it. Yeah, Broken Lobo, you left that comment at the very end of Morning Coffee. People are like, people are kind of saying this. I don't want to put words in anybody's mouths, but people are essentially saying, well, it'd be okay for GTA 6 to do it, but not Nintendo. The motherfucking disrespect that some of you have for Nintendo. You need to know who you're talking about. Do you know who you're talking about? I think some of you have forgot. You didn't forget about Dre, but you forgot about Nintendo. Some of y'all forgot about Nintendo. Nintendo is the king. They sold people cardboard, okay? Like Nintendo can kind of do whatever they want. Now, yes, they could mess this up and have a Wii U situation on their hand or a 3DS situation on their hand. I don't think that's the case. I saw somebody make a very good point on Twitter, and they said, listen. They're like, Nintendo has made a sound device. This isn't going to be like a big misstep like the Wii U. Why? Because prices can be adjusted. The device itself is good and quality and will be in demand. If they have to lower price, they may lower price. They can pivot on price a whole lot easier than like, well, the product sucks. Now what do we do? Like what happened with the Wii U. Thank you, by the way, for the £5 from Captain Steve. What if GTA 6 was a pay per hour $1? Would you play it? Oh yeah, paying per hour on value is a terrible road to go down, isn't it? And thank you for the £5, Captain Steve. That's like, according to your math, that's like 1/100th of a console price. Thank you for super chatting 1/100th of a console. I appreciate it. I'm gonna start saying that when people super chat. It sounds much better. Yeah? Instead of thanks for the £5. Thank you for tipping me what is equal to 1/100th of a console. Lona, what are your thoughts about the camera with the Switch 2? What's the point of the camera if Nintendo copyrights on YouTube? People want to show it off. I don't understand the question about copyright. Why? What do you mean copyright? Copyright what? As we say in the tech enthusiast world, there is no such thing as a bad product, just a bad price. You can have bad product. Well, I get what you're saying. I do. I think a lot of people forgot about Nintendo. I kept telling people, like, Nintendo is sort of the quiet giant in the room that nobody pays any attention to. And then when they're like, well, they shouldn't be the one to do it. Nintendo has no right. What did you say? Like, huh? Nintendo's like, I was there at the beginning. You know what I'm saying? Nintendo survived. They literally survived. They were there at the beginning, and they're still here. And they haven't really budged on a lot of the way they handle things. They have built some of the most successful, most iconic franchises in video game history. That's power in the market. When you can slap Pikachu on something, or Mario on something, Zelda, Link, Samus Aran from Metroid, a 10 spot from Street Shadow. Lono, can we look at this in terms of value, cost per hour for luxury items? $17 for a 2-hour movie that's only 2 hours. $8.50 Oh, it's $8.50 an hour. Mario Kart is $80, 100 hours. That's 80 cents an hour. Look at the value for the cost. I used to try to do that with people, Street Shadow, and they hated it. Thank you, by the way, for making Confetto in the chat. Another super chat goal hit. Let's reset it. Every 5 super chats, I will gift a member. I've always said that in the realm of digital entertainment, video games is it's an insane value proposition. What you actually spend per hour is ridiculous in comparison to a movie or a show or anything like that. It's an insane amount of value what you get. You spend $70 on Tears of the Kingdom and you could play for 70 hours exactly. Well, it's like $1 an hour. That's incredible. That's incredible. Imagine only paying $1 an hour for a movie. Oh, I need a ticket to the latest Lord of the Rings movie. And that'll be $4. You'd be like, what? And they're like, yeah, it's $1 an hour. Now, I'm not saying that that's how games should be priced. I'm just saying I again think perspective is helpful. I think perspective is helpful. It's like you're getting all upset. It's like we've got one of the best value to dollar hobbies in existence. You guys like the Napoleon Dynamite quote, right? Yeah, that's a throwback. Seriously. Get mad, get angry, vote with your wallet, do all those things. But for crying out loud, get into another hobby. Get into model trains or remote control cars or fly fishing. You're going to pay, get into Legos. Brother, you're going to spend so much money comparatively. The conversation around this topic is frustrating because no one's really looking at the hard data. The data shows games should be cheaper, if not remain the same price. Okay, you just created an imperative from data. Walk me through that. So an imperative is an ought or an ought not. So you said games should be cheaper or should remain the same price. You've created an imperative. It ought to stay the same or cheaper based on data. Walk me through why you think that. Where are you getting an imperative from? Because if Nintendo or PlayStation or Rockstar or Xbox or whoever, if they determine we can raise the price on this item, we can make more money, why should they not do that? An imperative can be a negative or a positive, an ought or an ought not. So they ought not raise the price. They should not. Why? Where are you getting the imperative from? They only care about themselves? That's what businesses do. Do you want to stay employed? Think about where you work. Think about where you work. Do you want them to not care about making tons of money? Do you want them to behave in that way? Because when the company continues to make really good money and the margins are good, guess what? You could get a raise. You don't get laid off. You might get a bonus. You're good with that, aren't you? Aren't you good with that? When your company does really well and makes a ton of money, maybe you get a bonus, maybe you get a raise, maybe your division doesn't get laid off, maybe your division doesn't get reduced. Aren't you glad that your company's doing that? Aren't you glad the company you work for is all about the money? Right? Do you want your money? Do you want your company to be a bunch of frugal cheapskates? Well, we don't want to make too much profit. Did he answer me? Let me see here. You can't say games should be cheaper without knowing anything about how much it costs to make, and then you can't be angry if studios close shop if they don't make enough profit. Daripa says, content is taken out of the game to be sold. Free-to-play models is paid to play game. Development costs have remained roughly the same for 3... Did you just say... You can't be serious. You typed this sentence and you just a moment ago said the data supports your position. Okay, I'm going to read this again. Chat, just everybody stay calm. Development costs have remained roughly the same for 3 decades? Brother, that sentence is so factually incorrect, it's retarded. That's the nicest way I can say it. That it couldn't be more factually incorrect. The development costs of games have stayed roughly the same for 3 decades? They made like 3 Nintendo 64 games for like $12 million. Like, they made like 3 Nintendo 64 games for like $12 million bucks. 3. That's like, what, like $4 million a game? And company profits have never been higher. Funny how that works. Here's the thing you have to remember, and I've said this a lot. This is why people call me a corporate shill. People call me a corporate shill. Okay? Because I say I want gaming companies, publishers, developers, I want them to make as much money as they possibly can. Yes. I want the publishers and the developers to make buckets of cash. Do you know what publishers, investors, shareholders, C-suite, board members, do you know what they do when they're making tons of money? They try to make more by reinvesting, growing, expanding. Like, what do you think companies do when they're not making buckets of cash? What do you think companies do if the margins shrink? What do they do? What do you think their response would be? You think they're going to, let's just throw more money at the problem? Let's invest more? No. They've disclosed costs on some games through leaks and other sources. Some recent games have cost like $200+ million. That's what I'm saying. To argue that like the stats are in your favor, and then you say something that's like it's not even remotely true. The cost of making games, the budgets have mushroomed significantly. That's been a major talking point recently from financial analysts that are like, this is unsustainable. The studios themselves are just too expensive to run. They're too big. They're too costly. The salaries are so high. Like, you got 300 to 800 employees. When you're in that bracket, buddy, it is expensive to get these games to market. How to sell more products 101 equals lower prices. That's incredibly reductionist and not true. I'm for them making money, but be honest about how you do business. Who's being dishonest? What are you talking about? I'm saying I'm tired of the inflation excuse. It doesn't hold up when investigating the actual numbers. Nintendo didn't say anything about inflation. Some of the companies have talked about inflation. Some of the companies have talked about rising costs of budgets. Right? Yeah. Plenty of companies have said that. Nintendo didn't do that. Doug Bowser was talking about this is not a new benchmark. He didn't mention budgets. He didn't mention cost to bring games to market. He was talking about variable pricing as basically as related to the value, the repeatability, the replayability, the durability of the game. You understand that when you make a product and you bring it to market, you don't just set the price according to, oh, it costs this much to make, so we think it's worth this much. What? No. No. It's, we think this is worth this much money. This vacuum cleaner, these tires for your car, whatever, we think the value of the item, what it's going to do for you in your life, in your vehicle, or your home, or whatever, we think it's worth this much money. Well, but how much money did it cost you to make? You know, what the, huh? What are you talking about? Have you ever gone to the store and seen that on the price sheet? You're like, well, these pair of sneakers are $55, and right here it says they cost $2 to make. Like, you don't have access to that information unless you do like a bunch of research. The average consumer just determines whether or not the value proposition of the item is strong enough to purchase. People bought $4,000 Kirby vacuums. Right. We literally buy water that falls from the sky for free. This isn't a capitalism discussion for me because most wouldn't have an issue if GTA raised the price to $80. It's the fact that it's Mario Kart, not worth it. You can have that perspective. I don't think your perspective is generally agreed upon because the last Mario Kart lifetime sales is like over 70 million copies. Like, when your game is super popular, you can get away with stuff. Let's talk about skins in Fortnite for a second. Right? A decorative item in a game being like $20, $25 to make your character look like Frosty the Snowman? People are like, that's nuts. Fortnite's like, what do you mean? That's a stupid way of thinking? Oh, okay. Can you explain why it's a stupid way of thinking? On your probably 5-minute old account? Oh no, 13 years ago. You just decided to rename the account. You don't want to come in here on your real account. That's very bold and courageous of you. But sure, tell me why that's a stupid way of thinking. When your game is popular, what do you think determines the price of Pokemon cards? Is it the cost of the paper and the ink? Or is it the demand and the popularity? You go to the store right now and buy Pokemon cards. What do you think determines the price? You think it's the per card? The per card price to print? The packaging? The shiny foil? What do you think it is? Just take a stab at it. Maybe, just maybe, the insane popularity and incredibly high demand for the product is what determines the price as much as the perceived value from the consumer. Do you think every item you buy the price is determined by production costs? Man, it must be really expensive to print these Pokemon cards. Good gracious. What? No. Pokemon cards rarity and print run of the card. And all that's manufactured by them, Steve. They could make 1 million of the shiny limited Mewtwo, but they're not going to. Why? Because they want you to buy the packs and buy another pack and buy another pack and buy another pack and buy another pack. They manufacture complete artificial value just out of thin air. They're like, listen, we can add a couple zeros when we print this limited edition gold foil shiny Pikachu, but we don't wanna do that. It's totally manufactured. But that's my point. If you go to the store right now and you buy a Nerf gun, a board game, a TV, a bottle of soda, do you honestly think the price that you pay is directly determined by production cost? No, it's determined by the value perceived by the consumer as well as the demand and the popularity of the item. Like a bottle of Coca-Cola is always going to be a little bit more, if not a lot more, than the off-brand. Why? Brand recognition. Super popular. They have the top-of-mind marketing. You see Coke, you want a Coke, you can smell it, you can hear it, you can taste it. And they've spent millions of dollars, probably billions of dollars over the years establishing themselves as a brand that then can charge what they charge. So to think that Mario Kart can't raise the price or be more expensive, I feel like you're talking about a championship boxer like he's some slouch street fighter. It's like, what the huh? This is Nintendo and Mario Kart we're talking about. This is one of the most globally dominant video game brands in existence. And you're like, yeah, they shouldn't be allowed to do this. Oh, okie dokie. We'll see. We will see. Everybody thought they demolished Assassin's Creed Shadows by downvoting YouTube trailers, and then PlayStation released their most downloaded games for the month of March. And oddly enough, AC Shadows was up at the tippity top. But it didn't sell well. Pre-orders for the Switch 2 in Canada have also been delayed. I've worked in development. I see distribution numbers. That's how I knew the Switch would be priced at $450. You can look at the comments on Lono's previous videos. What are you guys debating? How much it costs to ship and produce is always factored in. That's part of what we are worried about right now with tariffs. Okay, hang on. Daripa, it's factored in, but it's not the primary thing that causes the price of the item. When you go buy a Hallmark greeting card and it's literally $5, it didn't cost them, $4 to make it, and they're making a buck. It cost them pennies to make, right? Because they mass produce them, and the quantity drives down the per item cost, right? They get the paper and the ink and the glitter, and they get all that at a massive, massive amount. So that means then their per item cost is minuscule. So when they print that individual card, it's like a nickel for them to make it, and then I buy it for $5. Siege Master with the 5 bomb of members and gets us to 70. Thank you so much. What's worse is half the people don't even play games on Nintendo games or even plan on getting a Switch 2. Yeah, I mean, there's certainly a bunch of people who are in the discussion simply because, Fortunately, we have a product for people who aren't able to stay connected. It's called the Xbox 360. Nintendo says it understands that some consumers won't be able to afford the Switch 2, which is why they're still making the Switch 1 available. Yeah. I don't think people understand. Like, I think the Switch 2 is going to sell incredibly well. I don't think that they've harmed their demand in any way. They switched from protecting the offended Japanese people to protecting the downtrodden Nintendo fans. Such big hearts. I never said it was the only factor, Lono. You're making valid points. So just justify to me why a paid game should cost more when it uses free-to-play business models. Wait, what game is costing more that uses a free-to-play business model? Can you give me an example? What game are you referring to? I don't think game prices... I don't think the price of a product ever falls under any imperatives. There is no shoulds or should nots. There isn't. You could walk out tomorrow and make a video game like that banana game, and you could be like, it's $100. You have every right to do that. There's no imperative. You could just decide that that's what you want to do. You're like, yeah, it's $100. Take it or leave it. There's no should. I'm sounding like Yoda. There's no should or should not. It's just whatever they determine the price to be, and there is no right or wrong. It will either be, the market will either bear it or it won't, and then they can obviously adjust. If they find out that sticker shock on Mario Kart World is a lot worse than we anticipated, we're gonna have to drop the price. They can do that. I don't think they're gonna have to, because Mario Kart's just too popular and too recognizable. The small number of people that are like, well, I'm not buying, that's too much. A lot of them will cave because they're not going to want to miss out. But then the overwhelming amount of people that buy it will make up. Because like I said, every million that they sell, that's an extra $10 million. Every million of the physicals they sell, that's an extra $20 million. That's an awful lot of dollary dues. to make up for I think, the unquantifiable amount of people that are going to be like, I'm not buying. I've been waiting for all this time for a new Mario Kart and a new Switch, but it's $10 more than I expected, so I'm out. I don't think that that's a very large group of people. I'm just saying your words apply in the other direction. Huh? People keep saying games should be more using those arguments. Oh, I am not saying they should be more. A lot of the times my position on this gets twisted. I mean, surprise, surprise, right? I mean, there's no way. I believe in the goodness and the honesty of men. Nobody put me in their videos over the weekend while I was bailing water out of my house. Nobody put me in videos over the weekend and misrepresented my position on this. Oh, no. Surely nobody made it seem like I'm defending rising prices or I want the prices to go up. Surely nobody did that. The video count's probably in the double digits because liars gotta lie. I have never once said that they should. I've never once said this should be celebrated. All I've ever said was we should have seen this coming. It was inevitable. That doesn't justify it. It doesn't need to be justified. That doesn't defend it. It doesn't need to be defended. It doesn't. It's just the way the world moves. Things get more expensive, and we've managed to dodge it for a very long time in the gaming world. We have managed for a very long time to fly under the inflation, jumps on items. Like what did a VHS cost in 1995? A new VHS movie typically costs around $20 or $30. Okay? 20 to 30, all right? So let's just do the 20. 20 in 1995, inflation to now. That's basically $40. That's over $40 for movies back then. Do you see? Like, movies have gotten more expensive over time. Why? Because if they would have stayed at 20, then that means they would have been making less money per movie sale. So, like, the cost of the movies have gone up along with everything else. Yeah, movie tickets will never go higher than 20. I mean, I don't know about that. Brandon with 17 months says, morning, Lono. Thank you so much, man, for keeping your support here. Yo, it's good, Ginger. I paid more for my SNES than I will for my Switch 2. That being said, the issue I see is that our income hasn't risen. Okay, that is a great point that is not Nintendo's responsibility. Right? Cost of living going like this, and the average median household income in America going like this. That's not Nintendo's responsibility. Nintendo is responsible for Nintendo. That's all they're responsible for. It's not their responsibility to make your lack of a raised income. It's not their responsibility to meet you where you are. I'm not saying it's their responsibility. Oh, for sure. For sure. I'm not saying that you said that, Ginger. What I'm saying is like they are beholden to themselves and their company and their C-suite and the shareholders. They're not beholden to the gap between cost of living and an average annual income. That is an enormous problem that, sadly, gaming companies aren't going to solve that problem. I think you raised some good points, says Captain Steve, but are Switch 2 games overpriced for what they can technically do? Are they on par quality tech-wise to current gen? Well, see, I don't ever... That's a good question. I don't buy games necessarily for that reason. So I think Assassin's Creed Shadows on PS5 Pro is one of the best looking games I've played this gen. Do you know what game I also enjoyed and I put 26 hours in? Prince of Persia. I think both games are worth full price. Like I got 20 to 30 hours out of Prince of Persia. It was one of the best Metroidvanias I've played since Ori and the Will of the Wisps. And I don't think it should have been cheaper just because it was less technically impressive than the AC Shadows. I don't know if that's the appropriate way. I mean, you can as a consumer. I don't do that. I'm not like, well, this game should be cheaper because it's not as technically impressive. Dude, Mario Kart is going to fill my home with mirth and laughter and joy for years. My kids will play it. I'll play it. My wife will play it. We'll all play it together. That's worth $80. I'll pay $80 and for months, and we'll take it up to my nephews at Thanksgiving. And we're going to have so much fun. And I'm going to have fun with you guys on a Friday night. It's worth every red cent that I'm going to spend on it. And no, it's not as technically impressive as AC Shadows. And guess what? I play AC Shadows by myself. I don't play it with my kids. I don't play it with Madam yet. There's the rumored co-op thing coming, but I would spend that much money. I'd spend $80 to take my whole family to dinner. No. I'd spend twice that, dinner and a movie, roughly. Dinner and a movie would be around $120. And that's one evening. One evening. Please see my tag in Discord. I know it's off topic, but there's been no breaks in the debate. Look for Oblivion game the week of the 21st. Okay. Yeah. That's not like show breaking. We can look at that later. That's not like a reason to break show right now. Stone Spire getting us to 72. That's the kind of stuff to bring up in green room. Or to like table to green room. Not if you take them to McDonald's. I know what Stone Spire's going to do. I think Stone Spire's going to walk this all the way to 75. He's going to do a bunch of singles. I'm not going to be here later. Okay. That's just how I do show flow, though. I don't want to break and suddenly start talking about that. I appreciate you putting it on my radar, but I'll just end up kind of tabling that, and we'll look at it in green room. Stone Spire with another one. Gets us to 74. This guy used to do this all the time back in the day. I'm just going to preemptively put it on 75. I currently owe you guys 15, and there it is. Thank you, Stone Spire. Exactly 25 away from the first 100 of the week. And here's the thing. You might look at the $80 for Mario Kart World and come to a completely different decision. You might come to a completely different decision and be like, it's not worth the 80. I'm not going to play it that much. I'd run through the circuits one time. I'd probably, that's maybe 20 hours, and then you'd kind of be done with it. Yeah, I think that's fair. That's what you're supposed to do. Pre-orders have been delayed for Canada, not the actual device, Mohammed. Yo, what's good, Purple Haze? So, I don't think there's anything wrong with that. I don't think there's anything wrong with you saying, I look at the game, the graphics, the capabilities, the technical whatever, and you determine whether or not it's worth the money. That's totally fair. Look at No Man's Sky on Switch. It has no settlements or multiplayer. It costs more than the PS5 version that has all of that and the better graphics. I bet Switch 2 will charge more for Cyberpunk. Maybe. I mean, I think in general, Nintendo is got a level of confidence and hubris, and I think some of that they've earned, and so it's hard to fight against that. It is. I think it's hard to fight against that. It's like when something becomes very popular, like Pokemon, or take this as an example, like Legos right now. I grew up watching the Uncanny X-Men. There is a Lego set right now from that era. It's the X-Men, and it's the jet. It's like $80. It's like a very normal sized. It's like a $30, maybe $40 Lego set, but it's $80. You go to the Lego store, and if it's a Harry Potter, if it's a Marvel, if it's a Star Wars, if it's a Nintendo, the price goes up. Why? Why do you think? It's a super popular IP that's kind of earned the rights to be like, you're going to pay top dollar. And the Agent of Chaos is Jamal with his renewal 18 months. Nothing's too expensive, but there are things we can't afford. Prices are what they are, and you have to take it or leave it. And that sets us up to be 24 away from the first 100 of the week. Thank you very much. We're going to have Madam play Blueprints on Friday night. That's what you guys are going to unlock with the goal this week. We are going to stream on Saturday the Marathon gameplay reveal. I'm going to try to roll that right into the IRL member stream that I owe you in the backyard, having some steak and some bourbon. It'll be a brisk evening. It's going to be in like the 50s, but I owe you. And I was bailing out my basement this last weekend, so you guys didn't get any of the members' content that I owed you. And I spent a stupid amount of money at Home Depot saving my basement. Do with the drum set with 28 months. Expensive Legos are my new 401k. Thank you so much. And that gets us to 77. That's why you get Mega Blocks instead of Legos. There's so many Legos I want right now. Oh, the X Mansion is so cool, isn't it, Street Shadow? Oh, the minifigs are so dope. Oh, they look so good. Not sure Cyberpunk on Switch 2 at 70 pounds will be as good graphics-wise. Gameplay-wise as the PS5, and it's 50 pounds on the PS5. Better game, better experience, less money. Steve, try to tip somebody or do a membership on YouTube on an iPhone. There's a markup. iPhone wants their cut. You know? Did you see a Nintendo Switch exclusive licensed game is leaked for the PS5? I saw somebody pointing that out. Which game is it? I didn't get a chance to look into it other than I saw the headline. South of Midnight's out now. I gave my first impressions on Friday. I think it's quite good. They just need to polish up the combat. I'm kind of hoping they'll do a bunch of combat patches and then eventually port it to PS5, and then I'll pull it out of the backlog. Right now it's in the backlog, and I really liked it. The combat was just kind of shaky. Everything else I thought was excellent. It was excellent. It's well worth. I think it's well worth checking out, especially if you got Game Pass. 43 months from Stephen Marston says, Lego my ego, and gets us to 78 members on the day. Guys, consider upgrading off of your standard membership lights to Member Plus. That way you can impact the member count every single time you renew. And Charles Hawk with 21 months. I made it to Biome 3, Boss and Returnal. I love the music you hear right before the fight. Are you talking about Biome 4, though? I think you're talking about Biome 4. That bumps it to 79. Are you talking about where, everything's overgrown and green and he's playing the organ? Or are you talking the music in Biome 3? I don't remember that music being... Anyway, we got some questions here getting submitted by members. Yeah, Biome 4. Yeah, I figured you were confused. I was like, Biome 4 is the best music, ever in a video game in the history of video games. Perfect Image says, would you rather the Switch be 500 in Game 70 as a standard or remain the same? I don't. That's sorry. I can't really answer that question. I'm not. I don't. When you put me in a false dichotomy, I'm not picking. Daripa gifts a member and sets it up. We'll see if anybody takes the bait to 20 bomb us all the way to 100. Nice little setup there, Daripa. Whatever the justification may be, the market will decide. The debate's meaningless. A pack of Chips Ahoy cookies is around $7. They only fly off the shelves when they're on sale or for half. Only games I'll get for the Switch will be party games and Nintendo exclusives. I'm the same, Captain Steve. I can't imagine owning a PS5 Pro and buying a single third-party game for the Nintendo Switch 2. There's no reason to. Thank you for discussing honestly. Appreciate you. Today's been a blast. I know people don't agree with me, but I think that makes it fun. And a 10 bomb comes in from Purple Haze and gets us to 90 members. She's hoping for a tag team partner. We don't need a 20 bomb if we can get 2 10 bombs. Thank you so much, Purple. Stone Spire submits a question. What will be the first game you play on the Switch 2? The launch title, probably. Mario Kart World. Yeah. The number one question my kids have was, will it play Minecraft? And my daughter has fallen in love with Minecraft Creative. She just wants to just build stuff. And a 10 bomb comes in from Behemoth. He says, let's tag team it up. And a little mini 10 bomb train from Behemoth and Purple Haze. And a 5 bomb comes in from Alex. And he pushes us past 100. That's an Agents of Chaos. Thank you very much, sir. 105 on the week. You're crushing it. I owe you guys a 20 right now. I agree with 80% of what you're saying, says Captain Steve. Just feel that Nintendo have balls of steel to charge next generation prices for a console that even on par with the Series S. Here's the thing, though, Captain Steve. I can't play my Series S on an airplane without bringing a bunch of stuff with me that is just incredibly inconvenient and probably not even going to work that great, depending on, I mean, you need some kind of a power source. I can take my Switch 2 on a plane, on a train, passenger in an automobile, and I can play games native right there. Dude, being able to play Tears of the Kingdom at 60 FPS on a portable handheld that's $450, I don't know, man. That's pretty awesome. I'm not playing games native on my portal. I need internet. I'm either playing cloud or remote. Steam Deck for a plane. I'm not playing Tears of the Kingdom on my Steam Deck. I'm not playing Mario Kart World on my Steam Deck. Here's the thing, Captain Steve. There are actors, there are shows, there are things that you're there if they do something new. Right? I'm that way with Nintendo. They're like, hey, we got a new Mario Kart. I'm here. What is it? I'll buy it. We got a new Zelda. Give me it. You know what I'm saying? Like, I grew up with Nintendo, so it's just like, there is no maybe. There is no, Now that they're giving me 60 FPS, it's not even a question. It's like, no, I'm there. Yeah, I want to play that. Give it to me. Give me it. Tears of the Kingdom at 4K 60 on my television. Oh. Hideout's tolerable now, and AC Shadows getting between 50 and 60 frames on the Pro. Nice. I'm such a Nintendo stan. Yeah, I don't even care. Like, I kind of wear that proudly. It's like, well, yeah, I remember sliding the towel off of the Nintendo box Christmas morning with my brothers and screaming. I remember watching my dad play Operation Wolf and playing Tecmo Super Bowl. I remember those things because that was like the birth of me becoming a gamer. Nintendo is transcendent at some levels for me, especially now that I can play their games in 60. Okay, cool. That's all I really needed. Purple Haze was 7 months in a VIP. Switch 2 is making me change my channel direction. It is what it is. In Nintendo, we trust. Hey, who you winking at? All right, that's going to be a 106. Thank you, Purple. I can't change the direction of my channel with Nintendo. I can add it in, but Member Plus from Pac-Man on a Bike. I enjoyed your war story this morning as to why you weren't here, but I want you to know, working all day without the show hurt us too. Hey, man, my sore muscles and damaged basement send their condolences. Thanks for renewing. We're at 107. Held off on Tears of the Kingdom. I couldn't do it, Ginger. I was trying to play it. I was playing it handheld, thinking that would help. And then I would help my brother, I'd help my son in Kena Bridge of Spirits. And that was at 60 FPS on like a big screen TV. And then I'd go back to Tears, and I was like, gah. Oh, I couldn't do it. I was shockingly productive yesterday. I don't know what you're talking about. Agree with that, Lono. I love the Punch-Out games and the Zelda games, and I want to play Switch Zelda games. It's a premium price, though, for something less than in my eyes. Yeah, I don't agree. I don't think it's less than. You can, and then you engage your purchase accordingly. But I don't think it's less than. That Metroid Prime is really, really nice, you know. Now, people are questioning whether or not GTA 6 will be on the Switch 2. That's, I think that's a giant question. I think that's a giant unknown. But, you know, I think in general that everybody wants to be on the Switch 2. Everybody's going to want to be on the Switch 2. That doesn't mean that they'll make it. They're going to try. I think they're going to try to get GTA 6 on the Switch 2, but I don't know if they're going to be able to. Do I need a Switch 2? No. But will I do whatever I can to get one? Absolutely. I'm going to try and get... My wife's going to... She's going to give me a little bit of grief about it, but I'm going to try and get 3. Nice shirt. Thank you. It's only less if you have different values to Lono, which is perfectly fair in how this is supposed to work. I'm not personally seeing the value either, so I'll spend elsewhere. Yep. Yeah. Metroid is 4K 60. Tears of the Kingdom is 1440. That's not what VGC said. VGC said docked Tears of the Kingdom's 4K 60. Were they incorrect when they said that? You seem like the type of person that would get more than 2. Yeah, I'm going to have to get 3. Each of my kids is going to want one. Ain't no way I'm going to be able to touch the dadgum thing if I only get 1. If I get 1, I'm not touching it. Oh, Digital Foundry said 1440? Okay. I'll take that. I'll still take that. But VGC said 4K 60. That was the only reason I was reporting that. I was reporting what somebody that had hands-on had said. Okay. Yeah, 1440 60 in that game. Like I told you guys, if they can give me 1440 60, I'm happy. That is good for me. I don't 4K is great, but I don't need more than that. 1440 is to me fine. 1440 60 is kind of a sweet spot. Kids are such a pain, they ruin all the fun. Yeah. My son is adorably effective at games sometimes, and he shocks me. What was the game he was playing? Medieval? They did a remastered version or something, and he really wanted to play it. I'm like, are you sure, buddy? A £2 super chat from Captain Steve. Pal World for Switch 2, will it happen? I don't know. Listen, you know, the title of today's stream is about the GTA 6 price. We didn't spend too much time on it. So, given how much we've debated about the Nintendo, right? What do you guys think? Do you guys think GTA 6's price is going up? Is going to be above standard pricing? My prediction has changed. I don't think GTA 6 is going to want to come to the market and be cheaper than Mario Kart. I just don't think they're going to do that. I think they're going to be 80. I think standard price for GTA 6 is going to be 80. It'll go 80, then deluxe will be 100, and then premium will be 120. It'll just go up by $20 each time. 80, 100, 120. Regarding GTA and Nintendo, I think they are entering the age of variable pricing. 80s for GTA is likely. Yeah, that's what I think, Garrett. I think that seals it. Like, can you imagine GTA being 70? Why is it $10 cheaper than Mario Kart? I think it'd be hot if Rockstar marketed their game as GTA 6, an amazing bargain, cheaper than Mario Kart. I don't think Rockstar would or Take-Two would want that in the public. I didn't care for Luke Stevens' analysis. He basically stated that the only determining factor for games price is production cost. I mean, he's free to think that. I don't think that that's true. That's not been true for a long time. For a very long time, we have purchased games like you purchased Spider-Man 2 for the same price as games that were half of the budget. So that's just factually incorrect. That's not accurate at all. Spider-Man 2's budget was 2 to 3 times higher than plenty of other AAA games that we have purchased at the same price, at full price. That just isn't true. The budgets of video games are all over the place. And if you're going to claim that production cost is what goes into the price of the game, well, should we like marry that to all the commentary about budgets are getting too expensive, they're inflated, they're bloated, we're heading towards a crash? Well, wouldn't that mean that the price of games should go up? Like, you see what I'm saying? Like, if that's just too simplistic, it's like, well, then every game's price would be completely different. The budget is a factor. It's not the only factor. What's going to be wild, games that release at 80 and still be broken, so it's like the prices go up but the games will still be a mess. I think that will happen, King, but I also think that's not a common thing for Nintendo. I don't think like Mario Kart's going to come out and like you know, be buggy and glitchy. But I certainly think, yes, there'll be games that come to market that aren't ready. I mean, we saw that with Jedi Survivor. Jedi Survivor was a mess, and that was a full price game. Budget's not a factor. The vast majority of consumers have no idea about budgets. If you as an individual care, that is just noise. I'll take 4K 120 over 1440 120. Ever heard of the Pokemon games? Last few releases are a mess. Yeah. But that's not a Mario game. I think Nintendo's a lot more protective of like their big dogs, their big property. Not that Pokemon's not a big property, but like they're more protective of like Mario and Zelda. I don't think I've ever purchased a Mario or a Zelda or a Metroid game and had them be like glitchy and buggy and poor quality. Now, performance was an issue on the Switch, but that was an issue of power of the device. It's not like they built like a crappy game. I mean, noise isn't like signal to noise ratio. Right. Violet and Scarlet. Yeah, they had some performance issues for sure. Yeah. So yeah, I think that GTA 6 price is certainly going to be, I think it's going to be 80. There are people predicting 100. Now there was, if you guys missed the show open, there was a Swiss retailer that had GTA 6 listed for $100. That could have been a simple mistake. But it could be real. I don't know. This guy says, whoever watches your so-called news channel is stupid. You report fake news. It's always interesting when people say that. Do you have any evidence that I've ever reported fake news? Like, substantiate your claim. Where? Where have I ever reported fake news? Ever. These guys get so propagandized on Twitter. Jiminy Christmas. 10 million at 80 is the same as 8 million at 100. Sure, but again, I think their goal would be to get the 80 standard, 100 for deluxe, and then like 120 for premium. I'd always be interested to say how many buy the 100 and the 120, because they will get millions of people to buy the deluxe or just the primo, give me everything. Right? Like, they can sell versions of GTA 6 for $100 or 120. People will willingly do it. Your base price doesn't have to go up that high in order for you to do it. They could move millions of copies of GTA 6 at the 100, at the 120. They totally can. But so the question would be, do they think that's more valuable to have the entrance cost close to what the market's doing, and then have the extra additive costs for a premium or a deluxe edition that are, $20 or, $40 more or whatever? Because again, I think they would 100%, they would get millions of people to buy it. No question. How much is Nintendo paying you to shill for them? See, when you type something like that, you're just self-reporting that you're sort of in an emotional state, and so you're resorting to accusatory insult. So that's just like a lack of discipline, right? It's like immature. I'm not shilling for Nintendo. If you're familiar with my content, you would know I'm actually very critical of Nintendo, and I hope they lose their lawsuit against Pocket Pair. And, like all companies, they get criticized when I feel they misstep. And I kept trying to warn people that Nintendo's a company that can kind of do whatever they want. And if they want to raise prices, or I remember telling people that the Switch 2, I thought it was going to be around $500 because I thought they were going to position this as a more serious handheld gaming device. They're paying a lot. How about that? I mean, are you insinuating, along with the other emotionally fragile person in chat, that I'm being paid by Nintendo? You can't honestly think that, right? Like, describing basic economics to people who seemingly don't understand them, it's not my fault that you haven't gone to college yet. That was in response to them saying that. Like, we've spent an awful lot of time since the announcement of the Switch 2 just explaining basic economics. That's not shilling for Nintendo. Like, your lack of an education is not an indictment of my character and integrity. Like, just because you haven't gone into like an Econ 101 class and, got a passing grade, that doesn't mean that I'm shilling for Nintendo. Everything we've been discussing since the announcement is so pedestrian. Like, it's so bottom of the barrel. Like, I know kids in high school that understand this stuff better than some of the people that come in here. Like, I could find a couple 16-year-olds that would run circles around some of these people that come into these conversations. Like, that's not shilling for Nintendo. This is such easy to understand, economics of business. Like, this is just how it works. Like, I've never once said that you have to like it or you have to support it. I've never once said that I like it. I'm just like, this is just the reality. Prices of stuff go up. We've gone a long time without hardly any movement at all in pricing. If you aren't constantly crying about prices, you're a shill. Simple. Right. Lions attack and eat the slower or older animals because it's easier. Why are you shilling for lions, Lono? I won't pay $100 for no game. Well, I mean, here's the reality. Let's say GTA 6 is $100. Let's just do this as a thought experiment, right? How many people in chat would not buy GTA 6 because it's $100? Like, you'd buy it for 70, maybe 80, but like the $100 is a bridge too far. Like, how many people would be like, no, that's too much? Because everybody's got a breaking point. Everybody has a limit, and they're like, nope, not paying that. That's too much. Like, your local restaurant might have to raise their prices. Movie theaters have raised their prices. And then you adjust what you do That's what you're supposed to do. That's the market, ebbing and flowing with product value proposition, demand, consumer perception, price point, right? All of that is always sort of ebbing and flowing. And the market will determine whether or not Nintendo has chosen a price that can remain, $80 for Mario Kart World as an example. My prediction is they're not going to have to budge on price. They're not. Because there's going to be plenty of other games. And on the Switch 2 price at $450, I don't think that they're going to have to budge on price. There's a lot of people that have been like, but the Nintendo Switch, was really, really sold on the idea of like it being affordable and it being cheap. And it's like, yes, eight years ago. A Switch 2 OLED is $350 right now. For $100 more than that, you can get a Switch 2. Did you honestly expect them to bring the Switch 2 to market and have it priced in the hemisphere of basically an 8-year-old handheld with a better screen? Like, the PlayStation Portal is $200. It's a controller with a screen on it, and it's $200. You didn't expect the Switch 2 to be, roughly double that? I mean, I just did. If Mario Kart was more than $120, I would hesitate and likely wait for a discount. Everybody has a breaking point. Everybody has a breaking point, and you just have to determine what your breaking point is. So you said, so Scott W., you came in and you said, how much is Nintendo paying you to shill for them? You didn't reply to anything that I said, and now you're just rolling your eyes. Something that I have found, if there was a Venn diagram of people who get accusatory and, call your integrity into question, and people who can't argue, they don't have the intellectual capabilities to actually argue their position, that Venn diagram is a circle. Like, you're all the same. You all do the same thing. You come in, you let everybody know that you're emotional, so emotional about it that you're going to insult a stranger and call their integrity into question. And then every time, 100% of you that come in and do that, you don't have the ability to argue. It's just not in your skill set. Make sure to put that on your resume. I'm really good at insulting strangers, but I couldn't argue myself out of a wet paper bag, just so that anybody that hires you knows what your skill set is. Street Shadow with a $5 super chat tip. For people who don't want to pay a higher price, are you bothered that others are willing to? Because I'm not concerned how you spend your money. Yeah, there are things that get too expensive and I stop buying them. I did that with steak. I would go to the local butcher. There was a time where steaks were like, I get a ribeye for $15, $20. COVID happened. Now steaks are twice that. A ribeye is like $40. Guess what I did? I stopped buying them. Now, I didn't stand outside the butcher shop and say, hey, they're ripping you off in there. We better not be going in there and buying a ribeye. It's a joke. They shouldn't be doing that. I didn't. I just reacted like a consumer. I was like, yeah, I'm not going to do that. It's more economical for me to buy the ground beef, make a bunch of patties and freeze them, and then I can eat 10 different times for less money than, one dinner, one ribeye dinner, being that much. I just changed. I was like, yeah, I'm not buying that. So yeah, everybody has that breaking point. You just have to determine what it is. Because game prices are going to go up. This isn't going to be the only time. This isn't going to be like we might sit in this hemisphere for another 15 years or so, but it'll happen again. You think in 20 years, you think like, in 2045, I'll be in my 60s. You think that game prices will still be this much? Or well, stop acting like you're critical of steak to look neutral. Now, price of eggs is a nationwide discussion. Yeah. There's plenty of people mad about the prices of food. And they have the right to be? Yeah. I try to marry, emotional angst or emotional response. I try to marry that with, I try to put those two things in a blender with facts so I have a more balanced, think of it in the realm of ingredients. You can blend, salty and sweet, and you end up with something that's very, very tasty. If you just do nothing but salt, then it's going to taste really, really bad. That's all you're going to taste. And I feel like a lot of people are they're just in that lane. It's just salt, anger, frustration. It's like, you could balance that out a little bit with just some basic facts and some basic, understanding of economics and what companies do in every sector of every hobby everywhere. And maybe that helps you be a little less salty about it. I don't know. If you come in here and say it's more expensive and I'm going to feel it and I don't like that, I have nothing but agreement. It's making universal statements that gets me going. Yeah, they should not do this. Yeah. Can we talk about how you like your steak well done with ketchup? No. That is fake news. That is fake news. Guys, do me a really quick favor and smash that like button. Try to get us to 400 likes. Can you stop defending Nintendo for 1 minute? For crying out loud. Can you pinpoint where I defended them? Where did I defend them? There's video evidence, you blasphemer. Did you already talk about Nintendo charging a monthly fee for a button? Yeah, I was critical of that. When I reacted, I did my reaction last week to the Nintendo Direct, and I said that was the biggest dud, stupid thing. I think it's stupid. Number one, I don't think there's a high demand for that. Number two, why are you charging for it? Number three, why is it a button? Wouldn't that just be something you do in the menu of the device? Now you're gaslighting. Explain to me how I'm gaslighting. But you said I was defending Nintendo, and I asked you to point out where I defended Nintendo. How is that gaslighting? Asking for evidence is gaslighting? If you're that fragile, maybe you shouldn't make accusations if you can't back them up with evidence. I don't know. Maybe you should go write a twit longer. Accusations without evidence, or I don't know. That's kind of a 2020 thing. That's not really a 2025 thing anymore. People don't really take that seriously. People using internet slang, they don't even know what it means. Yeah. Gaslighting, straw man, projection. People do this a lot, for sure. The melting power connector is wild. Huh? Nintendo kids suck with crossplay? What are you talking about? The prices of stuff in every sector will go up, and that's all you have to do as a consumer is determine what your breaking point is. That's why I asked. I was like, guys, if GTA 6 is $100, are you bailing? Right? Are you not going to buy? And I think there are plenty of people that would say, yeah, that's too high. That's a bridge too far. And that's exactly what you're supposed to do. There is no reason to defend it or attack it. It's like, it's just the price, and then you determine whether or not you're willing to pay the money. Like, it's that simple. My Hero has crossplay with Nintendo kids. They get destroyed. Oh, yeah. There's, depending on the game, for sure. The 5090 has even worse problems with melting connectors than the 4090 did. Running 575 watts through a cable barely rated for 600 is apparently a bad idea. Good golly. Do you think we will reach a point again when the gaming scene isn't so controversial? Here's what I think is going on. I think a lot of people are just hijacking the conversation. I think most people, most gamers, are not on this negative wavelength. Like, look at chat today. The vast majority of the people that have come in have been very sensible, very calm, very, yeah, I just think it's too much, I'm not buying it, or no, I think it's fine, I'm buying it. Like, you know, they accept that inflation's a reality. They accept that game prices have been very good for a long time. You know, ban me for expressing my opinion, that's rich. You don't seem to understand the difference between expressing an opinion and accusing me of something. You accuse me of shilling for Nintendo. That's not an opinion, that's an accusation. You're struggling with categories. You then accuse me of defending Nintendo. I asked where I had done that, and then you said I was gaslighting you, okay? None of these things are opinions. They're all false accusations. You don't seem to understand the difference. Like, if I come into somebody's stream and I'm like, yeah, I think you're just shilling for Nintendo. They're paying you money. That's not an opinion. That isn't. That's just an accusation. The vast majority of gamers are pretty rational about algorithm push the extreme views. Oh, for sure. For sure. Even Alex from Digital Foundry said games have been at a stagnated price for too long and something needed to happen. Well, and that's the thing. I think a lot of people all rested and feeling better. Hang on. Exactly. He can ban people for uncool names like Omar or something. He still never explained why. Yeah, like if you're gonna say something, then like I would assume there's something behind the accusation. Circana player engagement for the weekend, the week ending of March 29th. Let's take a peek here. Xbox, AC Shadows was in number 8th. PlayStation, AC Shadows was in number 9th. Steam, yeah, it didn't crack. It didn't crack the top 10 in America. I'm actually kind of surprised that it didn't land higher on Steam, but we knew it was going to do better and on PlayStation, which it seems like PlayStation and Xbox, it did very well. It was like top downloaded game, or second top downloaded game in US and Europe when PlayStation published their numbers. The Steam concurrent and the sales numbers actually look like it would have charted a little bit better on Steam. Hang on. I'm assuming it's because of UB Connect. Oh, maybe a lot of people just installed it through UB Connect. Yeah, I don't know. Schedule 1 did. Yeah. I didn't even know who you were until I saw this person make a video on you. I mean, that's par for the course, brother. That's par for the course. You watched somebody else's content about me, and you've come in here with a bunch of false accusations. You know, everybody's got to make rent somehow. And being dishonest about me is helping a lot of people make some good ad revenue. All you've done is come in here and display a lot of pretty apparent ignorance about my content and what I think. So, I don't know. You could be better and more discerning and maybe just come in and ask questions from me instead of thinking you're getting an explanation of my opinions from another person. Oh, the Metal Eden demo is out on PS5? Oh, that's right. That's right. We reported on that last week. Yeah. We reported on that last week. I've encouraged people, like, the best thing you can do is if you think I've said something, if you think I believe something, then come and ask me about it, right? You could have come in here and just asked me a question instead of coming in and accusing me. Like, I don't know. I think this is a hard thing to fight against, but I really do try to fight against letting another person influence what I think about somebody. I like to figure it out for myself. There's a very, very clear, sort of theme in these spaces to try to misrepresent people, to try to make them look like they're a certain thing. Do you feel like you've seen that today? Do you feel like you've come in and you've seen somebody who's just shilling for Nintendo and just defending Nintendo? Do you feel like that's what you've seen? Because if not, then to me, I would conclude that maybe you weren't given an accurate representation of me. Yeah? Maybe you were misled, which should then maybe make you consider where you spend your time in the future and who you support and who you believe. Fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, shame on me, right? Like, you've got to determine, if you feel like you're getting accurate information about me, watching these other people talk about me. Like, who do you think has more of a vested interest in being honest? Who? Me or people that make that kind of content? Do you think that they have a strong emphasis on honesty and accuracy and integrity, believing the best about people, giving people a fair shake, being neighborly? Do you think those are character traits of their person and who they are and their content? Do you think they value those things? Switch to dock mode going powerful, including both fan and AC power supply. My question is, Lona, are you good with Bungie again? I was surprised to see Marathon stuff based on history. No, I'm not good with Bungie again. My producer signed us up for their website thing that they did, and then they sent me an email and asked if I wanted some Marathon stuff. It was handled by a third-party company. So, Bungie, it was sent to me on behalf of Bungie. It wasn't sent to me by Bungie. I know people took great interest in it and were quick to say, it was a third-party company with a low bar for metrics or whatever, diminishing pretty much anybody who got one. It's kind of interesting. But yeah, and I've got a video coming today where I think Marathon is being set up as a recipe for failure. That doesn't mean it's going to fail, but I think they're setting it up I think they're really setting it up to be at a huge disadvantage. I do. I think they've really, really stacked the deck. Guys, could we get 20 more likes really, really quickly on this video? So to summarize, somebody was like, hey, how in the world is GTA 6 going to be $100? How could that possibly be, Nintendo's fault? People are basically blaming Nintendo because of the Mario Kart World pricing, essentially, in their mind, influencing GTA 6 to basically feel like, well, we can now, increase our price too. Clevelando with 7 months of memberships. I don't think the value is there for the Switch 2, but I won't be purchasing. But that's just me personally. And that's totally fine. Thank you for the membership. That's 108. I owe you guys 20 members. I'm probably going to do those members in the premiere of my marathon video. So stick around if you want to get a membership. That's a really great way to get one. That is a really great way to get a membership. In my opinion, the last few years of stuff from Bungie has only reaffirmed it was them, not you. It's funny how that works out, isn't it? It's funny how that works out. When you have a game director who's the actual villain, yeah. It's always interesting, isn't it? Yo, what's good, Stormkiller? Another member plus comes in from Enjoy. Off topic, do you think I should get the PS5 Pro now just in case the price goes up? Also kind of crazy. It's been almost 2 years. Almost 2 years, dude. 109. What a strong member count for Monday. I greatly appreciate the support. Right now. Never fun dealing with natural disasters. It's good to know that we've just got a vibrant and supportive community here. Let's comb through some of the questions here. Donnie might not be here anymore. He was here earlier, though, and he said, where does Death Stranding fall on your PS4 game list? Oh, all-time PS4 game list. I don't really have an all-time PS4 game list, but Death Stranding is definitely in the top 10 games for me now. It's definitely up in that list. It's hard to place it above, like, I love Hellblade 1, Returnal, Tsushima, Sekiro. It's up in that group. It's up in that group, though. It's phenomenal. Horizon and God of War as well. Yeah. So, Crinab says, do you think all their first-party games will run at 60 the whole gen? I don't see why they wouldn't because of how they build their games and because of their art style and their game types. Does that make sense? You know what I mean? Like this guy just left a comment. He said, bro said the games look impressive for a $450 device, but these are visuals we've been seeing for over a decade. What is really impressive is that the 300 Series S can run all available games on the Xbox platform, especially since it's gone under 300 regularly on sales. It's Xbox, so let's say the thing held back the generation and Nintendo is innovating. Imagine comparing a handheld to a console and not realizing you just kicked an own goal. Like, talk about an own goal. You're literally going to compare the Series S to a handheld. Okay. Good job. You did so well. Kazan's up there with Sekiro gameplay-wise. The more layers I peel back the combat systems, the better it gets. That one I'm having to hold off on that one. Man, I know it looks good. Art style looks good. Man, really, really does. Does Switch have a parity clause because we're unaware? Yeah. Well, and here's the thing. Switch 2 is entering the market primarily with their own stuff. And if you want to bring your game to Switch 2, you can. Right? Switch 2 didn't market a console on next-gen performance thresholds that then it's not going to hit. Series X and S did that, right? They marketed their console and they didn't hit those thresholds. They entered the market in a disruptive, regressive sort of way. It's like, well, all these studios are now wanting to do, higher res, higher frames, and you brought a box to the market that is going to hold everything back because now they've got to make things for yours instead of this one. See, the Nintendo Switch 2 is not doing that. Nintendo Switch 2 is coming to the market and saying, we are a handheld hybrid console. Here's the thresholds that we can offer you. And if you want to get your third-party game over there and get it running, you got to figure it out. Most of the games coming to the Switch 2 are going to be ports anyway. They're not going to be like built from the ground up for the Switch 2. That's a vast difference. I bet Nintendo doesn't have to private its marketing videos of the Switch 2, right? I mentioned earlier, did you notice the new game Blueprints? Yeah, it was in the show open, Joel. Yeah. I talked about how it's the highest rated game of the year on Metacritic. And it comes out this week. I'm going to check it out. We're going to have Madam play it on Friday night. When you guys hit that goal, we do those Friday night streams with Madam. We'll have to think of some fun modifiers, for Friday night, with her. It could be really good. Guys, make sure you've hit the like button as well. We only need 5 more for 500. Thank you so much for a killer start to the week. We've been talking about the GTA 6 price. We will be co-streaming the Marathon event on Saturday. They are doing a gameplay reveal. A gameplay reveal. I've got a video coming today about why I think the game's being set up to fail. I don't think they're setting it up in a good way, and I'm going to talk about all the different ways. I'm not talking about the gameplay. I'm not talking about whether it will be well built or fun. I think all those things are, probably a given from Bungie. I think it will be well built. I think it will be fun. Yeah, Marathon sent me a little swag thing, like pack or whatever. I'm going to laugh so hard when GTA skips Game Pass. Why are you going to laugh so hard about something that's just obviously... They're not going to be on Game Pass. That would not be... Xbox is not interested in writing a check that size to Rockstar. I can promise you that. GTA 6 on Game Pass, like the check that Rockstar would ask for, I don't think Xbox wants to do that right now. That's not in their business strategy. You're crazy if you think GTA won't be on Game Pass day one? Huh? Why do you think that GTA 6 is going to be on Game Pass? That's delusional, dude. There's no way. There is no way. Xbox has shifted into more publishing role, dude. They've shifted into a significantly more publishing role. They're not going to write a check that size. I think that's a troll. What do you mean? Hellstorm said it. He retracted, but Hellstorm's not a troll. There's no way. Rockstar would want to check the size of Mount Everest, and Xbox would be like, why would we do that? That's not in their current strategy? There's no way. Xbox is not trying to buy another ABK. Yeah, write a check that size. I've been thinking instead of a steak stream, maybe you should have done a Saving My Basement stream. Yeah, we should do a Saving My Basement stream, right? We'll do a GoFundMe. All of the damage and stuff that we got to repair. Yeah. I don't want to do that. I'm hoping that insurance will cover it. I don't like... It would have to be a pretty dire situation for us to do like a GoFundMe or something. And for now, it's going to hurt, but I don't think it's going to be, it's not going to be distressing. Like, oh no, how are we going to do this? It's just going to hurt because April is also tax time. It's never fun to get hit, double whammy like that. Never a fun time. I heard that GTA 6 is going to be a Switch 2 exclusive. Yeah, for sure. Can you put that stuff on your taxes? I don't know. Yeah. What happened to your basement? We had record flooding in Louisville, Kentucky, and I spent 7 hours on Friday running shop vacs and carrying water out of the house. It came back again Saturday evening. My wife and I spent 8 hours carrying water out from our basement. It was worse on Saturday. From about around 11 o'clock or midnight until 8 in the morning, every 30 minutes we were carrying about 200 pounds of water out of our basement. We would just put shop vacs on the leaks and just let them just pull all the water out instead of letting it into the basement. So had to spend a ton of money on shop vacs and hoses and pumps, and now I've got probably a bunch of damage and a bunch of, mold mitigation we're going to have to do and drywall repair and blah, blah, blah. It sucked. That's why you didn't get a Friday night stream or a Saturday stream for the members. Your basement count as an office area for the business? Not where the damage took place. No, the studio, we protected the studio. We do have flood insurance, yes. So. Anyways, guys, thanks so much for 400 likes. Double check that you have not missed out on a renewal. You can hit that $sign, and that can be a renewal of your membership. Swordman7 exclusively on Switch 2 for real this time. Thank you for the $5 super chat tip. Mike on a mic. Strauss Zelnick said he's not in favor of Game Pass because he likes making good business decisions. I retracted because of autocorrect. Will got changed to won't. Oh, Hellstorm was agreeing that it would not be on Game Pass. I was going to say, I was like, what on earth? Yeah. Jiminy Christmas. No, yeah. Strauss Zelnick is on record of being like against Game Pass. They would never put now, GTA has been on there a handful of times, but not at launch. Not at launch. Putting a big, huge, gigantic, in-demand piece of property on Game Pass day one is something that Take-Two would not agree to. They wouldn't. The amount of money they would likely have to ask for would be a little ridiculous. And again, I don't think that, I forget what the estimates were. They weren't even just paying like a one-time fee for GTA 5 to be on there. They were paying a monthly fee, and it was high. I forget what it was. They had estimates in that one email that came out during the FTC trial. You know, to put GTA 6 on Game Pass would likely be so expensive that I don't think Microsoft would be okay with it. I don't think they would greenlight it or approve it. And I also don't think that Take-Two would even want to do it. You know, the check, that it would be such an unrealistic conversation. I think it would be such an unrealistic conversation to ask of that level of money and financing from Xbox would be, I think, even entering into the discussion to be like, well, hey, do you think we could put GTA 6 on Game Pass? I think people would say no. Like, no, what do you mean? What is it going to take? I'm like, you don't even want to know what it's going to take. I still can't believe Bowser at Nintendo pulled a Don Matrix Xbox 360 moment. Bowser basically said, if you're poor, we have the Switch 1. I'm surprised I haven't seen more of that. Well, I would say that it has the potential to backfire in the way that the Xbox One and the Wii U and the 3DS, like historically there's been some hardware that comes into the market and it's not at a price that consumers are receptive to, okay? I did appreciate the observation that they're not really in a position to lose. Like, the hardware and the proposition and the games are good. They can bring the price down and then course correct. You can't fix the fact that, like, Wii U just wasn't in demand. You guys argued this the other day. 3DS dropped in price and then it sold like crazy. I think the Switch 2 is in a similar position of power. They can monitor market response, and if it is too tepid, negative, or not, you know, as strong as they'd like, they can drop the price. And then they win. Like, people will go nuts. Oh, the Switch 2 just dropped in price. Holy crap. And then you have like a rush to get them. I personally don't think they're going to have to do that. I don't think they're going to have to drop the price. I think that $450 or bundle we're 8 years out from Switch 1. So what you're looking at then is people going into the store and they're seeing video game consoles in that hemisphere of price. Also, this is what I tried to tell people. I remember outlining this for people. If you look at the current prices, right? We go to Nintendo.com and we're going to shop for hardware, okay? I said, if you walk in to the store and you see a standard Switch for $300 and then an OLED for $350, I said you're going to see Switch 2 for $450. And then the Switch Lite's $200, isn't it? So you got $200, $300, $350, $450. And I told people that's what they were going to do. I said they're going to call it the Switch 2, and you're going to have this whole spectrum of pricing. You can go Switch Lite for $200, standard Switch for $300, $350 for the OLED, or $450 for the Switch 2. I don't think anybody's going to look at that and go, I don't believe it. This is ridiculous. They're not going to do that. It's a sensible pricing structure. It's totally sensible. What, you thought you're going to walk into Target and get a Switch 2 for the same price as a Switch OLED? A 7-year-old device? An 8-year-old device? Switch 2 OLED for $550? Maybe. Listen, I'm here to tell you, man. I'm here to tell you. I think people are really, really just underestimating that most consumers are going to walk in and they're going to see those prices and they're going to be like, yeah, that makes perfectly good sense. $200, $300, $350, $450. It's a spectrum of price. Well, you thought the Switch 2 was going to come in here and be hanging out in the prices of a standard Switch? That's ridiculous. It's a better device. It's a stronger device. It's got more stuff. It can do more stuff. It looks better, runs better. $5 super chat from Sneaky Wolf. It'd be awesome to watch all the scalpers buy them at launch and then Nintendo drops the price. That would be wonderful. I would so celebrate that. When scalpers lose money, angels get their wings, dude. I love that. It's one of my favorite things. One of my favorite things. When scalpers get screwed, it puts a smile on my face. I love it. I love when those scumbags lose money. They deserve it. Totally deserve it. Now, I told you guys a bunch of times today, we're going to be co-streaming the Marathon event on Saturday. They're going to be doing a gameplay reveal. They sent me swag, but I cannot be bought, okay? I cannot be bought. Hilariously enough, I recorded a video yesterday arguing that Marathon is a recipe for failure. I think the game could be fun, could be great, it could even be successful, but I think they're setting this thing up to really, really struggle because of how they're positioning it. And I got a video that's going live right now, okay? And I'm going to send you over to it, and I want to know your thoughts. Now, after the video is over, we're going to hang out in Green Room with paying members. So you need to be Member Plus or above if you want to come to the Green Room, okay? So consider upgrading or click join right now, pick Member Plus. I'm going to gift 20 members when we get over to this video. If it decides to start, it's not starting. YouTube is, of course, going to betray me. There it goes. All right, I'm going to send you guys over. Listen, redirect doesn't always work. So click the link in chat. Don't rely on redirect. I want to see what you guys think of my argument here. I think they're setting up Marathon. It's a recipe for failure. So click the link in chat or ride the redirect. When you get over there, go crazy on the likes. I'll see you over there in the chat.